to start with, I'd like to address the rumors right at the beginning. I think it's important that we talk about that. This object is a comet. It looks and behaves like a comet and all evidence points to it being a comet. But this one came from outside the solar system, which makes it fascinating, exciting, and scientifically very important. This is only the third interstellar object like this that humanity has ever found.
Did any of you seriously, did you take seriously the proposition from some that this could be an alien spacecraft?
How to say Avi Loeb was wrong, but not be disrespectful about it.
It really does behave like a comet. The interesting thing that, Tom, I know if I throw this to him in a second, he's going to geek out about it. But the really cool thing about this is the differences, because it comes from somewhere else. And that's why we're so excited about it. It's only the third time that we've been able to identify and track something coming from outside our own solar system. It was quick. We were quick to be able to say, yep, it definitely behaves like a comet. We certainly haven't seen any techno signatures or anything from it that would lead us to believe it was anything other than a comet. It was...
That's a weird one. In fact, when I posted that, I posted it with aerogel ? Because that craft looks like something that is it looks like something we could make if we could only figure out the whole cloaking thing. And I think aerogel is like closest we're gonna get to the cloaking thing. For now, anyhow. Welcome, everyone, watching the Gabriel Speaks show. I am headed for vacation tomorrow. Woo, 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 woo. We're talking 7 beautiful days in Hawaii's sun-filled beaches. Yes, yes. And so I'm going to do this stream. I've got to stay up late tonight because the plane leaves super early. And also, the airport is several hours away from where we are. So I'm a cheap bastard, and instead of splurging on the hotel next to the airport the night before, we're just going to drive up. That's how we do it, yo, in the UFO community, because we're broke. Because we're spending all our money on our projects. How are y'all doing this evening? It's Saturday night. Let's see. In Pacific time, it's 7:30, so I'm trying to think of my days as a younger man. This would be kind of the pre-funk time. So hopefully you have a good night tonight. And before you go, you can hang out with us. We are going to be talking about UFOs. It's been kind of a wild week. Holy shit. The Age of Disclosure came out. And so, of course, that came with a Dan Farah media blitz, if you will. It also came with Lou Elizondo out there doing a couple interviews. Dan Farah actually did like a 3-hour or something one on Rogan. I tried to stream it last night, but I like almost passed out halfway through, so I cut the stream off. So we might check a little bit of that one out. We're going to talk about the Age of Disclosure. We're going to talk about Dan Farah Media Blitz. We're going to talk about Russia and this Russian UFO program. It did come up apparently in the movie The Age of Disclosure. And it has been something that we've talked about on my show a couple times, the Russian program Setka. So we're going to go over that as well. So this should be a pretty decent action-packed show, despite some crazy noise you might hear from the background of my family getting ready with last-minute packing. And we're just going to have fun. We're just going to chill and talk about this stuff. So we're going to start out with Farah. Like I said, he was kind of doing this media blitz deal. This is him on ABC News, and this is actually just a few hours ago today. So this is pretty recent. And I love the title is like, would the government lie to people about UFOs? Like it's all shocked. Yes, people. Yes, they have lied to us about UFOs. Okay, let's check out this interview, shall we?
All right, welcome back to ABC News Live Weekend. That was a clip of a new documentary that's exploring what it calls an 80-year-old cover-up of non-human intelligent life by the U.S. government. In the age of disclosure, director Dan Farah shares his 3-year journey making the film in secret and gaining unprecedented access and bipartisan support at the highest levels of the American government. It features testimony from 34 government, military, and intelligence community officials, and the film says there are profound stakes for the future of humanity. And joining us now in studios, Dan Farah, director and producer of the new doc. Dan, listen, as a fellow Jersey boy, I'm pumped that you're here in person and we get to talk about this. Thank you so much. Now, we were just talking about this. I mean, you've produced massive films. Ready Player One, one of my favorite films, The Phenomenon, but this is your directorial debut. So what made you decide to take on this subject matter for the first time of you stepping behind the camera?
Well, my childhood was the 80s and early 90s, and I grew up on movies like Close Encounters and E.T. and TV shows like X-Files that just made me curious about this topic, curious about these big questions like, are we alone in the universe? Does the U.S. government know more about this topic than the public? And so this is something that's always interested me my whole life. I've watched every book, I've watched every doc, I've read every book on the topic, and I always wished that there was a documentary that only interviewed people who have direct knowledge of this issue as a result of their work for the U.S. government, and to set the bar there at a very credible, unprecedented level. That film never existed. So when I produced Ready Player One and I found myself on set with Steven Spielberg, the greatest filmmaker of all time, a guy whose work had inspired me on this topic, it got me thinking and getting inspired to want to direct something myself. And when I thought about what that should be, I thought, what better than the movie I wish existed? A documentary that it pursued the truth by truly only interviewing people who have direct knowledge of it. And that's what this movie is. And the result is really profound because I got all these very senior members of the military, government, intelligence community to break.
Like, I don't want to shit on Dan Farah and his project. As much as it sounds like maybe I have recently, like, that's really not my intent. I think it's great he made this documentary. I think for folks that are not sure whether they want to invest their brain cells on this topic or not, I think it's a good documentary for them. I think it's a good documentary for folks that don't invest a lot of brain cells in this topic or subject. I think for folks that do research it a lot, though, like myself and others, it's more just great production value of information that's already been out there. Not to shit on it, but all of these interviews, all of this information, there's really nothing new. If you were to really go digging, you would find a lot of this information. You would find it in books. You would find it in old interviews. You would find it on old radio shows, but primarily books. And that's one of my beefs with this community is they give everybody shit for writing a book, but excuse me, so much of our information that we now have, so much of our knowledge that we now have came from books. So if nobody's supposed to write a book, how are we going to continue and move forward and document things? It's kind of silly. So, oh, cool. We might have someone joining us here. shortly. So, Nathaniel Hanks, if you're not familiar with Nathaniel Hanks, is a brilliant researcher, is very, very motivated by new energy approaches, and I just really like a lot of his content. So I've invited him to come hang out before my vacay and chill with us and talk UFOs, and we might get Mr. Daniel to come hang out, or Nathaniel. Oh my God, did I say Daniel? Nathaniel to hang out. All right. Okay, so again, I think it's great. I think clearly the production value is high. That's what people are saying. But is anything groundbreaking or new? Not really. If you've done a lot of the research already.
Break their silence in an unprecedented way and reveal this massive cover-up of non-human intelligent life and what's at stake for us.
And that's what I want to get to, because you talk to people that the regular everyday guy has no access to, the highest people in government. So, just from talking to all these people.
And I just want to say, why is that? We pay taxes. We pay these people's salaries. They work for us. So why does somebody have to have connections and know who's who just to be able to get a conversation about what could be one of the most illegal government programs in the history of the United States?
People, and obviously the subject matter at hand, what was the most surprising thing that you uncovered?
Well, first off, before even getting to the reveals, what was surprising was how bipartisan this is. Leaders in both parties think this is the most significant issue of our time. I interviewed Marco Rubio on the same day that I interviewed Senator Gillibrand from New York. And a lot of the people I interviewed are completely ideologically opposed to each other. They have different political beliefs. However, they're completely aligned on this, right? So that was an eye-opening reality I learned pretty quick. In terms of what they reveal, the U.S. is in a high-stakes, deeply hidden secret Cold War race with adversarial nations to reverse engineer technology of non-human origin. And the people in my film refer to this as the Manhattan Project on steroids. The stakes couldn't be higher. And since we know the intentions of adversaries like China aren't great, it's a really concerning situation.
Now, we've seen reaction, obviously, from these lawmakers, but we've also seen the current Trump administration take big steps in other issues, releasing the files about Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., obviously releasing the files about JFK. Do you expect some kind of massive response or revelation from the White House from this?
I do. And look, one of the big reveals in the film is one of the most senior intelligence officials I interviewed revealed that the Trump administration and his first administration contemplated going public with the base facts that he had learned, which are the simple base fact that we're not alone in the universe. And he was contemplating stepping to the microphone during his first administration to say that. A big scene in the documentary is the senior intelligence official, Jay Stratton, revealing that Secretary Mnuchin asked him for a classified briefing on this. And when Jay asked, why do you want a briefing? He said, I need to be prepared to understand what the economic repercussions would be if the president stepped to the mic and told the world we are not alone. And so that was something contemplated years ago. I think following the release of this movie, the president will have a much more comfortable set of circumstances to do that, to step to the mic and tell the world we're not alone. I think this film sets the stage for him to be the leader that steps to the microphone and tells us definitively humanity is not alone in the universe and that the U.S. intends to lead the way.
Wow, fascinating stuff.
That's interesting. So could this just be like one giant psyop? Remember, the movie came out South by Southwest a while ago. And I've turned on comments, y'all, so why not to turn them on, but I've turned them on the screen. So if you have any questions or anything, please throw them in there. We just be chilling. But the movie was created a while ago, and then we had to wait, several months, like 6 months or so, until this release date. And they we heard a lot of stories. We heard, could it be issues with finding out, or I'm sorry, could it be issues with finding a distributor? Could it be issues with a lawsuit potentially? We heard some grumblings of a complaint from Lou Elizondo's attorney about possibly being underpaid or not represented correctly. We really don't know because it's been kept off of the books. So whatever happened, they've managed to keep it off record and keep it behind the scenes. So we don't know. We don't know what caused the delay. And of course, they're not going to tell us the whole story. They're just going to tell us a part of the story. But could that delay have anything to do with timing? He just said this sets the stage for, it almost sets the stage for some kind of announcement from the president that we have life from other potential galaxies, dimensions. We still aren't 100% clear on that as far as from what the government's saying. But the thing is this, and the reason I go right to PSYOP is because that's one of our, as we've been talking about PSYOPs in my videos, one of our indicators of a PSYOP is timing, right? Like, was the timing manipulated? Does something seem tied to a specific time frame? And we've also heard Project, what was it? Blue Beam? Someone help me out. The one where the government's going to lie to us and tell us that aliens are invading, but really it's just like holograms and bullshit so they can just kind of assert more power. I think it was called Blue Beam or something like that. But could this be setting the stage for that? I don't know. I mean, I know of all the presidents I've seen in my short lifetime that that Trump seems like the one that cares the least about decorum. He doesn't seem to care about benefiting from being in office, or, he's just not a traditional president when we think of president. And does that make him more susceptible to these kinds of things? I'll tell you, I covered the government shutdown for, God, probably 25 of the 43 days, maybe more. I'd have to go look. A lot of live streams covering the shutdown. And I can tell you one thing I noticed when there was a foreign leader interacting with Trump was an ordinary amount of compliments paid to Trump and just how much of a genius he is, and how we couldn't do it without him. Of course, we're then typically handing them a rather large check. And it just made me wonder, like, is that the playbook? If you're a foreign leader and you got to go get some money from the U.S. or get some military backing from the U.S., is the playbook just go and kiss Trump's ass? He'll give you whatever you need, right? You just got to kiss his ass pretty much. Play up his ego and you're good to go. I mean, I hope that's not the case, but it sure seems like that might be the case. And I only say I hope because that could mean bad things for decisions that are made in the White House. My camera's being all crazy. Let me see if I can... It does this weird zoom thing. Can't make a little adjustment. So we've got this basically planned out, right? We've got okay, looks like I can stop doing it there. So we've got time. We've got it timed to where the age of disclosure comes out And then what? Trump makes an announcement that we're not alone on this planet. Do you think that's what's next? I mean, I know we're not alone. I know it. I had an interaction. It was a dream, but it was much more than a dream. And it was confirmed to me that there is more. What it is, I don't know. But there's definitely another intelligent species, at least one, that I am fairly certain interacted with. But before I sound more like a crazy person, let's move on here. Now, this was Dan Farah, or I'm sorry, this is, I believe, coverage of the Age of Disclosure on News Nation. And what they're talking about is a potential government cover-up, and also, as you just saw there, because I scrolled it down, Russian revelations. So when Knapp testified at the UAP hearing, we heard a lot about Russian UFO programs, Setka. We heard a lot about Thread 3, the document that George Knapp apparently smuggled out of Russia. And I even went as far to locate it, an unofficial, an unofficial copy, locate it, and did an episode on it. And we'll probably look at that for a minute. But that's one thing we don't think about a lot. We get caught up in our own stuff, our own programs. And we forget that there is an entire world out there and other governments that more than likely have things as well, especially large, powerful governments like China, Russia, and, a few others, UK. These are the type of governments that could lock down a program like this and potentially keep it secret if needed. And everybody says, well, somebody would leak, somebody would talk with all the people that would have to be involved. People have leaked. People have talked. People have given deathbed confessions. Never said a word about the program, and on their deathbed spilled the beans. This stuff has happened over the years. And you can find it all in the research. But anyways, this is about the Russian program, because apparently the Age of Disclosure does touch on the Russian UFO program. So let's take a look here.
If you've been watching the show for some time, you'll know how just extensively we cover all things UFO, or UAP as the government now calls it. This show was the first to interview whistleblower David Grush, and he was a former Air Force officer who came forward to claim that the government had secretly recovered alien technology. That was 2 years ago. And now what was then crazy has become something of a unifying topic for lawmakers from both sides of the aisle, to the point where a brand new documentary is being released today about all things UAP, and it's all featuring officials from the very highest levels of the U.S. government. The documentary is called The Age of Disclosure, and it tells the story of an 80-year global cover-up concealing the existence of intelligent alien life and technology. Tonight, we bring you an exclusive clip.
We learned that the U.S. government was involved in a long-running secret war with other nations to collect and reverse engineer vehicles not made by humans.
Some people claim it would cost them their lives if they spoke out about these things.
The first country that cracks the code on this technology will be the leader for years to come. This is similar to the Manhattan Project. This is the atomic weapon on steroids.
If Xi Jinping had access to this, if Putin had access, you think for a second that they wouldn't consider using it to achieve their ends of domination?
sometimes strategic surprises that change the course of human history.
Dan Farah is the documentary's director and producer, and he joins me now. All right, Dan, I was up way too late watching this entire thing because I literally couldn't stop. Congratulations. It's fantastic. I was struck by this line from one of the people you interviewed. Without a doubt, there has never been a program before that has been so successfully kept out of the public eye as the Legacy Crash Retrieval Program. What is it?
One of the intelligence officials in the film makes that statement. And, you know, previously the most secretive program was the Manhattan Project, but we found out in hindsight that the Manhattan Project had leaks. So when this program was created, they made it even more secretive and put more security measures in place. And those security measures have ruled the day the last 80 years.
The Legacy Crash Retrieval Program is something that the Air Force does for the most part. They have special units that go out to collect, to retrieve alien spacecraft that have crashed.
Well, the people in my film reveal that the elements of this program are elements of the Air Force, elements of the CIA, elements of the Department of Energy, and military defense contractors.
All right. For decades, they've had these units that go out, and we're not the only ones with these units that are going out to retrieve the stuff.
Yeah.
Russia and China are too. That's the other amazing thing that you reveal in the film, which is that we're in a secret arms race.
Yeah, it's arguably the most shocking of the reveals that there is this high-stakes secret Cold War race to reverse engineer technology of non-human origin that the United States is involved in with adversarial nations like China and Russia.
We think China and Russia both have retrieved alien spacecraft as well.
That's what the officials in my film go on the record stating.
They go on the record, in fact, saying that what in 1989, we think the Soviets retrieved a tic-tac-shaped spacecraft that had crashed.
which was significantly larger than the tic-tac encountered by the Nimitz carrier strike group and, you know, Commander Dave Fravor, who pursued it.
You also have two different astrophysicists in the documentary who say the government has retrieved at least two different alien species, and that one of them made contact with the crash retrieval team. What does that mean? Does that mean it was alive when they captured it?
One of the intelligence officials in the film speaks about an event that happened on a U.S. military base where two UAP approached the base. One of them landed, and apparently non-human beings exited the craft and interacted with members of the Air Force and the CIA. Now, here's the thing.
That is crazy. Also, why was the CIA there? That's weird. But yeah, the Air Force and the CIA is there, and they say they had an interaction with a non-human being. That in itself is just mind-blowing. As I said, these stories are all out there before, but I do think he's done a good job in compiling them, adding some weight and legitimacy, I think, to it. And as I was just saying, if there's any president that's influential or can be influenced by popular opinion, then I think this is definitely one of them. And I think that if he thinks, well, I know for a fact if he thought it would get him the Nobel Peace Prize, he would do it. Oh my God, that's it, y'all. We just guarantee the Nobel Peace Prize if he discloses any UFO legacy programs. We will know like that week. I guarantee he will make it happen. This man will make it happen. I kid. But his comments about the subject have been strange. Comments like, oh yeah, you know, they show me some things, but I'm really not that into it, I think is what he said. And that's just, I don't know how you could just not be into it. If you're getting well, I have to watch what I say because we don't know if the president is getting all of the intel. That's one of the problems with these freaking legacy programs and why they're illegal. Because they don't have any oversight. None. Like whoever is running the show down there, they don't have to answer to anyone. And that is a problem in a republic, y'all. That's a problem for us.
These all sound like extraordinary claims that are hard for people to wrap their head around, right?
Yeah.
But these are 34, in my film, there's 34 extremely high-level military, government, intelligence officials, people who have been trusted with very high-level security clearances, people who have been involved in, keeping this nation safe in many different ways, and people who we trust in a lot of scenarios. And, these interview subjects range from our Secretary of State to sitting senators to former, Director of National Intelligence, a former Secretary of Defense, leaders from the Pentagon, leaders from the CIA, leaders from the Air Force, leaders from the Navy. I mean, the list goes on and on. It's really hard to ignore what these people are saying.
It's really hard to say this is one kooky person doing this when you have this much experience in every level and every branch of government all coming together on camera to say, not only have we retrieved alien spacecraft, we've retrieved alien remains.
Yeah, and keep in mind, these are people that are not aligned at all ideologically or politically, right? But they're aligned on this. So it's 34 senior officials sharing one truth.
This was something that I did not know, was that during the second Bush presidency, Bush 2, they actually they convened a cabinet meeting and debated and discussed for days about whether or not to finally go public with this program.
Now, you see what she just did there? She did not say, according to Hal Puthoff on the Joe Rogan Experience, XYZ happened. She just stated what Hal Puthoff said as a fact. We don't know that's a fact. Can we see it happening? Fuck yeah, we can see it happening. Of course they're going to test the waters and see how people are going to respond and if it's worth the risk to let people know. I mean, they don't know for certain now and things are going fine. So why rock the boat? So it sounds definitely like a thing they would do. But the only source that meeting happened was, I believe, Hal Puthoff and possibly one other member of the CIA that said that it happened. Other than that, there's no documentation. There's no voicemails. There's no recordings. There's no video. There's no email. There's not even snail mail. There's nothing other than Hal Puthoff's word. So that should be made clear before stating it like a fact like she does here. I'm sorry. That stuff annoys the crap out of me.
Yeah.
What they have found and what they have discovered.
So Bush 2 had learned the base facts that we're not alone in the universe and that there have been recoveries of technology of non-human origin. And he was contemplating whether to share that with the world during his presidency. And he put together a think tank. One of the officials in my film was part of that think tank, and he goes on the record about it. They were asked to analyze the impact to various aspects of our society, from religion to the economy, and they all went into it bullish on the idea of disclosure, and after evaluating it, they all decided it was a bad idea.
Why?
For various reasons.
And again, there was no reason to keep it off the record. The Brookings Institute report was not off the record. It was 100. You can go download it today. So why would a meeting about a hypothetical have to be kept completely off the record? It's just, this is the problem when you have CIA guys all over this topic, is that they can very heavily influence the message and the narrative.
Just the impact, the place we were as a country following, 9/11, they just didn't think it was a good idea. They thought that we weren't ready for it, right? The film also reveals that in Trump's first administration, he contemplated going public in a similar way. One of the officials in my film, high-level intelligence official,
goes on record saying that Secretary Mnuchin reached out to him and asked him for a high-level briefing on this topic because he wanted to know what the economic, repercussions might be.
No, I love that part of it because he says, "Do you want to know why I'm asking you?"
Yeah.
And he's like, "Why?" He said, "Because I need to figure out what's going to happen to our economy if we come out as a government and say aliens exist, aliens are here, and we have them."
Yeah, yeah. And obviously they made the same decision Bush 2 did, which was to not go public,
not go
right?
public.
To keep it internal to the people who know.
There was one part of the documentary I wanted more information on. You interview a former military analyst who said that he and others who had interactions with the UAPs are now suffering physical effects. What interactions did they have?
Yeah, so one of the, to be honest, not so shocking reveals is that intelligence officials who have had encounters with UAP end up having biological effects. And I say not surprising because this is technology that we don't understand fully, that is emitting a lot of energy. And in the same way that if you stand behind the back of a,
so he came close
fighter
to
jet, you're going to get hurt.
He came close to one of these.
Yeah, came close to multiple UAP and ended up having biological effects.
And yet, because so much of this information is
An event that happened on a U.S. military.
So what were the, I think I just rounded on accident, but what were the injury? Like, why did they say biological injury? Why can't they just say what it was? I don't understand that. Kathy wants to know, will you play Age of Disclosure play by play? And your favorite section was the ZPE section, the 0 point energy section. Yeah. I was saying, at the beginning of this stream, my goal is not to, and my goal hasn't been to shit on the Age of Disclosure. There's a lot of, negative out there, like, oh, Age of Disclosure, they're not, and they aren't showing us anything new. But the value is, it's all of the more kind of astonishing things that have come out over the years, compiled, like Kathy says here, in 2 hours. It was just full of info, apparently. And that's the benefit. And we have modern, better cameras, more modern look to everything, just better production value in general. Because you look up a lot of these old UFO videos, and a lot of them are like old black and white, or not black and white, but like old VHS quality, grainy looking interviews, and the interviewer is just enthralled by the person they're talking to. They're not really giving them a good interview.
Testing.
Hey, Nathaniel, he is here. How are you, sir? You ready to come up on the stage or no? Just let me know. Oh, maybe Nathaniel can't hear me. Oh, can you hear me? Mr. Hanks, can you hear me? Well, we'll let him get his technical issue figured out there. But yes, so there is value there in having all of these folks, brought together, and it's video quality you can actually stand and sit through. You're not going to be bored so much. You're like, you stop paying attention. So those are all good things that the film brought, for sure. So I think that why it's getting pissed on is for that reason as well. Just that people that have researched it a lot feel like they already know this stuff, and they probably feel like, dude, you're just repackaging, the same old stuff. But I would say to that, isn't that what we all do? I mean, we all are reviewing these same instances. It's not like I can go and research a different Rendlesham. You know, there's one. So we're all kind of doing that, trying to figure this stuff out. All right, let's go back to the interview here. Like I said, I think I might have rewound a little bit, but we'll see. Oh, thank you, Kathy.
And that there have been recoveries of technology of non-human origin. And he was contemplating whether to share that with the world during his presidency.
Okay, yes.
And he put evaluating it. They all decided it was following 9/11. They just didn't think it was a good idea. They thought that we weren't ready for it, right? The film also revealed.
Yeah, I think that's a great point, Kathy. I mean, I wouldn't tell people don't see it. I personally, to answer your question about the point by point thing, I won't be doing it anytime soon because I'll probably wait till the movie's free before I watch it just because I'm cheap. Well, not that I'm cheap, but just that, good God, we already pay for so many damn streaming services. We've got the Netflix, we've got the Amazon, we've got the Paramount, then the local TV stuff so we can get games, and then we've got, it's like YouTube Premium, and good God, I pay enough for all of my entertainment. I'm not gonna pay another $25 for that, but I will watch it when it comes out for sure. I'll check it out. Let's see. Mr. Hanks, how are you, sir? Can you hear me?
Bingo. Can you hear me?
Oh, yes. Are you ready to come up on the stage? I didn't want to throw you up on the video until you were ready.
Thanks. I'm working out some new things. I appreciate it.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I'll just lay in the cut. I'm still picking up what you're laying down. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, just chilling, man. It's almost vacation time. Just hanging out, going over some. It's been a crazy UFO news week. You got Age of Disclosure and Farah and going out making the rounds, and there's this new giant comet, bigger. I guess it makes 3i Atlas look like a little VW bug essentially. That's interstellar that will be coming through our cosmos apparently pretty soon, so we'll talk about that too.
How should we feel about that on the PSYOP scale meter?
Oh man, it's like, well, we'll see what Avi Loeb does. I'm just waiting for him to tell it.
Hey, I had here's one more to add to the toolbox, I think, and this is for practical. This is like you should use it against yourself and like make sure that you can answer it, right?
Right.
This is for real now. It sounds like a joke, and I've offended people by using this, but I mean it like literally. Okay, but here it is, and you'll understand. So what?
So what? Yeah. How's it going to impact you?
What are you going to do about it?
Right.
What is to be done, as someone great said somewhere.
Absolutely. Make YouTube videos, of course. I mean.
Yeah. I mean, I'm given to understand that like having more people know about stuff, but also I don't think that that's enough either. I really do appreciate the work that Beninator in our community is doing. People like Jordan Collins and the Thunderstorm Generator folks, like they're actually good old boys and girls around the world making things better. Like whenever they make these thunderstorm generators, they remove any negative aspect of engines.
Yeah,
all the
and
exhaust is gone.
You're into the whole thunderstorm generators, big time.
Yeah, well, yeah. I mean, here's the thing: like they just work. Now, what's said about them, whatever mechanism, whatever. Maybe it's not what he says it is.
Here, I'm going to bring you up.
But it's making oxygen.
Do you mind if I bring you up so it doesn't look like I'm talking? Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Because I kind of look like I'm talking to nobody. That's kind of weird. Everybody, Nathaniel Hanks, welcome to the space. Love having you on, buddy. Nathaniel always provides amazing insight on energy. Kathy was just saying how much she liked the... here's your applause. Yep, Nathaniel Hanks in the spot. But Kathy was just saying how one of her favorite points about the new documentary apparently is this 0 point energy thing. Apparently they touch on 0 point energy. I have heard him talk about free energy in the trailer for everyone. But what's your thoughts on 0 point energy?
Oh, don't get me started. No, thank you for getting me started on a 0 point energy. The thing about it is it's important to remember that space is not empty. According to Thomas Bearden, the greatest joke in physics is that you could have something vibrating like matter in nothing. There must be something. There's an aether, there's a medium. And so if you take that vacuum energy, that's what we mean by 0 point energy. That's what we mean by technically 0 point energy is the minimal fluctuations of a thing, like a body, element, molecule, like the individual vibration of it. Like technically that's what it is. Like if you remove everything else, like there's an inherent vibration of a thing, even if you brought it down to 0 point, that's technically 0 point energy. But what people are talking about when they're talking about like vacuum energy and ether and cosmic energy and all this stuff, which are synonyms, basically they're talking about quantum vacuum fluctuations. And this is the same
vacuum fluctuations.
Yes. So this space between us is full of vibrations. That's it. Quantum vacuum. Right. And so far, I haven't found someone that can discredit this. But whenever you hear quantum, you're like, what's that? Like, that's what I always thought. But if you just sub in like quantum for harmonic, it seems to always work. Okay. Because what you're talking about is a certain kind of relationship of numbers and frequencies and small ratios among each other. So it gets very, very small, but there's still information down there. It's not nothing. Anyhow, the idea is if you have this sea of vibrations around us, this Dirac sea, this quantum foam sea, this quantum vacuum fluctuations, all this stuff, then what if you could tap into it?
Basically, so what they're talking about is kind of like using those vibrations for energy. Is that sort of the idea?
Yeah, and specifically how to do that is to cohere them into a form, because they can be amplified, they can be upscaled and modulated, and musical and frequency and stuff plays a role here. It's something I kind of forgot about. Musical, yes. Music. You can music frequencies, ratios, harmonics. Yeah, it's fascinating. You can, in Larry Reed's quantum wave mechanics, senior Lockheed Martin engineer Larry Reed, he describes gravity as a harmonic phenomenon. And you can see that, like us being on the Earth, if you stepped back, it would have a kind of like frequency shape where we have an interaction. And if you could somehow make like a bubble and separate us from the overlapping fields, then you would separate our gravity essentially in a kind of a metaphor that's purely musical, harmonic, say.
Interesting.
And it's analogous to this optical medium where you have Hal Puthoff et al. And Wilson in 1930 something. Puthoff isn't the first one to follow this. He's just like on the game of physics. It's like how it goes. It's shoulders of giants. Like even the stuff that's like radical new physics, it's like Helmholtz knew about it. Hertz knew about it. Like they just kind of got it wrong at the time. And so it was like, no, that's not right. But then later on, it's like, yeah, essentially, yes. Essentially
and we get new tools and new ways to figure stuff out for sure. That's crazy. So, so ZPE, vacuum, it's all kind of the same thing. It's all referring to that same type of energy.
Yeah, it gets more particular for someone wanting to study this, but if someone says this, know that they're critically onto something.
Do you think it's... So I know there have been ways to produce energy, get more out than what we put in but it's so minute, it's not worth it. Do you think this is a possibility of that there for 0.8? Like, let's say we figure out a way to harness it. Could it be possible it's just not even worth our time?
No, there's more to the story than that. Like, I know those stories, and I know that that's also part of the disinformation disservice to it, where it's like, no, just no, and like it's the swamp gas of cold fusion.
The swamp gas, right.
You know what I mean? So it's like, are you effing kidding me? That this doesn't like constantly, repeatedly work. You just can't scale it without getting nuked from above by the interests that doesn't serve them rolling out just yet. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so
that's kind of
no.
my feeling is like, I don't know. My only hesitation with Trump is he likes money a lot. And he likes oil a lot. Calls it black gold.
What are you getting at? I'm sorry.
Well,
I don't see the connection.
I just wonder if disclosure includes this free energy.
No, it doesn't. No, what? No. This disclosure is set up to launder a new era of technological intellectual property that can be monetized. JP Morgan light bulb, DC, not AC Tesla. That's what we're getting at. We're getting at like a kind of, if they have their way now. Here's the thing. This isn't like, we're reading how it's going to be. Like, we have to remember that we can do something about this, and that they're trying to hold on to control, right? It's not granted anyway, but they would love to have dominance over everything for the next 1,000 years and slow drip fusion, as long as they can like make a profit off of it or whatever. That's what this disclosure is largely about, is getting this technology transfer out, because largely the cat's out of the bag internationally. Like, the Russians know what's going on, like the Chinese know what's going on, like at the upper levels. Even if they don't have the same engineering, they're like, oh, we get it. We can see you dunking on us over there, military industrial, complex there. We see your orbs. You know what I mean? Did that answer a question?
Yeah. No, I just wonder. There's so many special interests that are rich and stay rich with things staying the same. It just makes me wonder if.
There's no disclosure. I guess that was it. I wanted to underline that. Like, it's not like for us. Like, that's not. It's a laundering, again, like psyop attempt, and I would argue, it's failing, even though like that might be the plan. Like, most people probably aren't buying it, but it's I'm picking this up, like Kelly Chase said. I'm picking some of this up from Kelly Chase. Like, she really reinforced this recently in that conversation. I don't know if you listened to it.
I think I heard about it.
Fullness.
Yeah, no, I definitely didn't catch the full thing. What were the big points you found in there?
Well, I'm saying already trying to summarize what she said to one point, which was that disclosure is not really for us. It's about the technologies. It's this kind of, and I'm adding on the laundering context of that. I think that's a way of framing it that makes sense, is that you've got these programs that want to be able to continue and come out, but you've really painted yourself into a corner, and you've got to talk about certain things there, and be like, okay, I guess we are reverse engineering alien craft to justify the 60 years of dark stuff that we haven't shown you. You know what I mean? Like that's just a frame for like, how are we ever going to tell you about electrogravitics that we can do without a context? Which, and I mean, it's like, I guess there's like a flood alien race coming, and we need to get our elite soldiers up with our plasma shields and stuff like that. So it's like, oh, ironically, or you've already been developing all that stuff underground, and there is no, like flood race. Like it kind of falls apart if you are taking this. I mean, this isn't a very good comet person thing as a video game metaphor. I mean, my point is that they're manufacturing this kind of scheme where whenever it should be, instead of alien, it should be advanced. It should just be the legacy stuff is the inherited knowledge, starting from Operation Paperclip and then the consolidation at the Last Supper and the aerospace companies. This is in my opinion. And this is what they've come to have as a body of capabilities at present. And it's a transnational entity at this point that the U.S. is one of the largest clients of, maybe the largest client state of, but that's shifting in the 21st century. So you can see this evolution over the 20th century of corporations growing and overcoming nations, and so, but now it's like the 21st century, and it's global now, and China's on the board. So it's an interesting time to be alive. I mean, looking at the history, you can kind of like read into the present. I mean, this thing would like to have complete control. It captured America in the West, and it's dominated until the 20th. When you say this
thing, you mean like the
national security state, quote, dark state, quote, Zodiac, majestic, military, industrial, Fourth Reich, transnational cabal.
Yeah, and that's where it gets confusing,
neo-fascist
right?
corporate.
Because you have like our military, but then you have these groups that, like, I guess they're in our military, but they will do special operations for some of these, I guess, elite cabal folks. Like the Herrera story where they were apparently trafficking something using one of these advanced crafts that they had, I don't know, reverse engineered or just made. I'm not really sure.
Yeah, I would say that's a cover for that. Reverse engineering and quote crash recovery come from discovering other people's stuff. This legacy of recovering crash attempts that you do for flying projects. All of this is just a cover for the advanced thing that they can't really say. Like they'll get quiet when they talk about where the Germans were. Because like Project Squid was not supposed to be talked about, which was investigating the German wonder weapons and their advancements in 1948. That's not supposed to come out because you don't need anybody to get curious about it. You want people to stay ignorant and as long as possible so that you maintain a power dynamic that way. And you can tell whenever things become public, it's like, oh, if it's public, that means everybody knows about it now. Or somewhere the worst guys, they're like the worst guys that, so like if we have these dirds coming out, it's because China knows about it. It's not like, we're just reading this over here and like, psst, don't tell China. You know what I mean? Right. It's like and they say it in their own conversation, like we can't tell, the public because then we tell the world. It goes the other way. If they've told the world or if they've told the public, it's because the world knows, It kind of gets figured out often that way. Or they need to strategically move the paradigm, which is why I think that the Roswell reporting in 1977 is interesting because it's a 30-year gap in the incident. It's right in the peak of a Cold War, and it predates, what would probably be the next 10 years where they're going to be dominant. So it's a kind of you can read the posture of where America is at that point in time, technologically, and knowing where they were advancing at 20 years plus on top of electrogravitics research from the 50s with the Byfield Brown effect at all the major corporations in the West. So they had a long time to keep advancing on saucers that were already advanced by 1950s. And so they're going to be doing saucer stuff, and maybe they're starting to move to triangles and other kinds of things. Like, I think the Tic Tac is actually a pretty crude thing. It's like kind of easy. It's one of the easiest things to explain. And I could bring that up in a second if you want, but basically you get two different frequencies in a drum. Anyway, so anyway, it's interesting to try and like look at the threads of what was classified, because for certain things go dark in the 60s, and then you start seeing triangles in the late 90s after the Berlin Wall falls, after all this research into the aether and vortex dynamics and fusion research. And yeah.
That's actually what I saw when I was a kid in the 90s, was a triangle craft.
Wow. Yeah. Where?
Pacific Northwest, Portland, Oregon.
Wow.
It was pretty wild.
Did you notice a couple of things? Did it look like anything else that you've seen on video or someone else's, is there other media that represents it?
Yeah, but it's like, it was a triangle. It had white light at each tip, and then a red-ish light in the middle. So I've seen videos that look like that, but I don't know if it's
turn into a ball of light and disappear. Did it slowly disappear?
It's like slowed down, and then like I'll never forget it. It like turned to the left, like a 90-degree turn, and then just took off. It's like all of a sudden it was
like
gone,
a sudden
like
speed burst. It was gone,
jet.
like a flash.
And then it was just gone. Exactly. It was crazy. I will never forget that. Like, it's
was there any flash associated with that movement? Was there a flash of light at all?
Not that I remember. No. But there could have been. It's been so long, buddy. It's been like 30 years. So.
And was this at a great distance?
Yeah, it was pretty high up. It's probably a few miles up, a couple miles up.
Couple of miles up. So it very well.
Maybe a mile up. It wasn't super high. Yeah.
So there very well could have been a flash of light at that distance that you might not have noticed if you were just tracking it at that. The reason I point that out is because there's like the 3 points, like Larry Reed's book. It's funny. I got a friend of the UFO community onto Larry Reed, and he was like posting pictures whenever I left a space, and I was excited. I'm like, yes, spread the word, because in that book that came out, you can see what you described, but mathematically and in a diagram with the concepts laid out around it, Yeah. And it seems like it's creating this kind of a field structure around itself, and like the 3 points of the triangle kind of act like a more complex donut. It's like a 3-tour, like where 2 tours give you a donut, 3 tours give you, and 4 tours, they give you different arrangements. You can have square waves and you can have square, but a triangle is, gives you
I always wonder about that shape. I always wondered about that shape. Why a triangle? Of all the shapes that are and all the different craft you see out there, the triangle is interesting. And now you see like some of the more advanced jets are coming out with are resembling triangles. I mean, they're cutting down on the tails, and it's crazy. It's crazy to see. What are your thoughts on the age of disclosure, Dan Farah, all this noise? What are your thoughts on that?
I've just had my nose in my own book, basically. I kind of have that on the pay no mind list. I skim around. I'm like, look, I think nothing's going to come of this, and listening to it is to be deceived. So if I hear like, oh wow, we were all wrong, I'm going to rush out and check it out and be like, your intuition's no good here. But
right.
I guess I'm kind of interested in certain things, but in others, in a very real way, like I kind of feel like the big parts of this case are cracked, and it's a matter of getting everybody like politically to understand the truth of the matter. you know?
Yeah, or understand it at all, because it's been muddied up for so long, you know, and fucked with and tinkered with, and yeah, unraveling whatever this legacy program was, I don't even know if it's going to be possible. And you're right, it could be just a legacy program protecting our technology. It doesn't even have to be necessarily alien technology. Maybe it's some old civilization technology, you know, like we just don't fucking know, because they're protecting it at levels that are insanely high.
Yeah, well, you know, here's the thing about like most of the stuff. Like, if I had an investigative, the thing is, like, the truth, no one wants to hear this story. So like, no one's gonna, like, the FBI's not gonna pick it up, or like your local news. Like, there's nobody to tell the story to. But if you could, you could basically, I think, describe almost every you know, like, attack with one of these things through this lens by showing that there was like contemporary propulsion schemes that you can bet were 20 years in advance of what they said was on paper at that time. Like, I'm not even asking for the full 50-year DARPA mission statement. I'm just saying, give me 20 more years on top of it. You know what I mean? And then magic happens where there's no observable that's beyond our own conceptions.
Right.
You know what I mean? It gets weird because it's like, at some point it should be like, we have no effing clue. And I think that there is stuff like that, but again, this is helpful to moderate like the human junk element of all this, which is our problem to deal with, right? As a species, or if you're given to believe these other narratives, like, I don't want to take things away, but like, at some point, like, everything is just going to proceed under a new empire if we don't do something.
Yeah.
You know, it doesn't have, it could just get like slowly
we see
worse.
it happening. Yeah.
Yeah. So like, the only way out is like through, I don't know what to, you know, like, that's the only reason, like, I think this stuff is like so very important, because it's the one lever to pull on everything. Like, name a problem, got you. You know what I mean? Like, if we had everybody, and it's weird because like, we never seem to be more globally connected, but at the same time, like, I don't know. It's wild.
Yes. I think I just wonder what it is if it's not. So, well, I don't. Like, I know it would probably be our tech if it's not alien. But gosh, what a crazy game to be playing if it's...
What you like an ultra-terrestrial hypothesis? You know?
I really don't know. I honestly think I think what we might be dealing with is us from the future.
Oh, that old chestnut.
That old game, yeah. Anyway, okay, let's let Dan finish here, because I did want to hear what he had to say about this Russian stuff.
Oh, Dan, please.
Reveals that in Trump's first administration, he contemplated going public in a similar way. One of the officials in my film, high-level intelligence official, goes on record saying that Secretary Mnuchin reached out to him and asked him for a high-level briefing on this topic because he wanted to know what the economic, repercussions might be.
No, I love that part of it, because he says, "Do you want to know why I'm asking you?"
Yeah.
And he's like, "Why?" He said, "Because I need to figure out what's going to happen to our economy if we come out as a government and say aliens exist, aliens are here, and we have them."
Yeah. And obviously they made the same decision Bush 2 did, which was to not go public, right?
Public.
To keep it internal to the people who know.
There was one part of the documentary I wanted more information on. You interview a former military analyst who said that he and others who had interactions with the UAPs are now suffering physical effects. What interactions did they have?
Yeah, so one of the, to be honest, not so shocking reveals is that intelligence officials who have had encounters with UAP end up having biological effects. And I say not surprising because this is technology that we don't understand fully, that is emitting a lot of energy And in the same way that if you stand behind the back of a,
So he came close
fighter
to one
jet,
of
you're
these.
going to get hurt.
He came close to one of these.
Yeah, came close to multiple UAP and ended up having biological effects.
And yet, because so much of this information is classified, none of them can go on camera and say what they saw specifically.
Yeah, not specifically. So look, the reality of it is, for 80 years, all of this has been kept from the public, Congress, and even sitting presidents. And I think that really changes today when this movie comes out and the public learns the truth finally. And my hope is it sets the stage for the president finally stepping up and telling the world the base facts, that we're not alone in the universe and what he knows is going on.
At the very least, he'll convene maybe a cabinet meeting in which, then they'll
Yeah,
all say, what would it be?
Yeah.
I don't know. I think the world is more.
I had to pause it there earlier because he's like insinuating this movie is setting the stage for the president to come out and disclose that we have alien life.
More prepared for this.
I think we're ready for it. I think the people can handle the truth.
Okay, last question.
You can handle
point out
the
in the
truth.
documentary, I found this very, very intriguing, but you point out that we as humans have only mapped about 27% of Earth's oceans. We know more about the surface of the moon and the surface of Mars than we do about our own oceans.
Yeah.
And you have
Yeah, they're currently mapping the ocean, I think. I think it's higher than that though at this point. But yeah, they're doing it with, I think, drones, aren't they? Doing the mapping of the ocean, or the bottom of it anyway, with drones.
Not familiar.
Yeah, because
I understand we can talk to dolphins, but
yeah, because we don't have a lot
have
of
you heard
it
about
mapped.
that? The dolphins? Have you heard about that?
Well,
Yeah,
this
anyway.
is new. This isn't like because I know like we've been able to train dolphins and like communicate with them and stuff.
Okay, yeah. I mean, but like, anyway, I don't want to take you off your point.
You're good.
But like serious dolphin communication, Army intelligence defense document or something like this. It's worth looking up. I know.
That's crazy. I believe it though.
Anyway,
I mean,
I don't know. Maybe it was a boondoggle, but also, come on, man.
Okay.
Anyway, back
well,
to the.
I find this video misleading because they were supposed to talk about the Russian stuff in the movie, which I did not hear them mention once. So what I'm gonna do is switch it up here. And this is George Knapp, because I do want to talk about this Russian thing. This was from the UAP hearing, and this is a segment from George Knapp. I'm going to make it full screen because I got to step away for a second, but then I'll be right back. Here we go, Mr. Knapp. You are on this stage. And this should go right into the Russia stuff. Here we go.
I want to move on now to the Russia files, because that was going to be sort of the central impetus of what I was going to talk to you about today. Back in the early 90s, I got into Russia, met with a number of their defense officials, Ministry of Defense and others, who confirmed for me that Russia had been doing the same thing that the United States had been doing, that is, secretly studying UFOs while publicly saying something completely different. The documents and interviews that I obtained and have now shared with this task force show that the USSR launched what is almost certainly the largest UFO-UAP investigation in the world. The first phase of that was an order was sent out to the entire USSR military empire that every unit, you see anything strange in the sky, a craft, an orb, something unusual, you had to gather all the evidence, collect testimony from the witnesses, look for physical evidence, and all of that information went into one program at the Ministry of Defense. Thousands and thousands of these reports came in. A lot of them were first routed to the KGB, but then back to another program that came after this collection effort called Thread 3. And Thread 3 was an analysis program. We have provided to the committee the documents of what they were trying to do, and essentially they were trying to build their own UFOs. They were using the information from their observations and studies to try to figure out that technology. The guy who was in charge of that program, Colonel Boris Sokolov, told me that their goal was to basically develop technology that would be superior to anything we had, based on what they learned from UFOs.
Mr. Knapp, just in the name of time,
Sure.
to my understanding, did you have anything you wanted to submit for Congress to see in this committee?
I have submitted those documents.
Would you like to play any videos? Do you have a video that you would like to play?
I don't think it's for me to play.
No, that was for Alexander.
Yeah, Alexander's video.
Okay.
You could play it, he could narrate it.
Okay, we can, in the name of showing that video to everyone on the task force, we'd like to play that video.
The name. Oh, sorry.
Oh my God, yeah. Jeremy Corbell is so excited at this very moment. His video is going on congressional record. Also, look, Jeremy, it's not hard to put on a tie. I did it during the break.
That shit took off earlier.
You can even have fun. Like, this is a Mickey Mouse tie. Be a grown-up, buddy. Come on.
If we can get rid of the audio real quick.
I tease. I'm being petty.
Mr. Wiggins and Mr. Knapp, we'll get back to what that video was in a moment, but we just want to make sure that it was entered into the record, as well as all the documents. Those will be able to be publicly found for everyone in the country to view. If we could, Mr. Knapp, we'll continue on the line of questioning, but I'm going to move on to Mr. Borland's opening.
Okay. Thread 3. Whoop, hold please.
Thread 3.
Thread 3.
Gratitude for being invited to testify.
Now. Oops.
American citizen, veteran, and intelligent community professional, it is an honor and a privilege to serve under oath before you on behalf of our country. I speak for myself and no agency or company.
Okay, so Thread 3 is the Russian document that Nat smuggled out, apparently. I was able to find like a unofficial copy, and a lot of it referenced our stuff. It was super weird. Like, it was a Russian document, but it referenced Majestic 12, and it referenced like Roswell and all this other American stuff.
Yeah, it's funny because those two data points go to things that have been said about the Majestic 12 documents and Roswell, come to think of it, that those were stories created to throw off the Russians. Now, I'm not saying believe that or not. My point is that those have been claims that they were in an area of the Cold War, stories made to, fuck with them. Right. Pardon my language. And so the fact that the Russians are reporting it just means that the baloney worked, if that's baloney, right? I think that there's other reasons to believe something like the Majestic 12 actually existed, even if not that. There's other claims, just to be clear, that it was slightly altered documents meant to fool the Russians, and this is something that was figured out. Like, this is, I think, a part of the Jacques Vallée Forbidden Science, Eric Davis, that whole group.
Okay.
So that's just more context about the Majestic 12 documents, which I think that they're basically correct. They're, again, only slightly fictionalized versions of something that's essentially true. Something like this controlling order, because we know that's what extended out of Brown Brothers, Harriman, and Dulles and all those fellas. So, anyway.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, it was curious to me when I found out the FBI wrote fake or whatever it was, like on every single page of those Majestic 12 documents. To me, I was like, oh, that means it's probably not. Or at least there's probably some truth to it.
Yeah, and if you look at if you're interested, like, I've got the names as a part of like the thing that I'm working on, and if you look at the names, it's basically like, okay, true or not, you're going to find something interesting if you follow their story at this timeline. Like, if you look up, Teller and all these folks, like, something serious was going on, more secret than the Manhattan Project, more empowered.
Yeah.
Like jet fuel of the Yamashita golden treasures and all that stuff. Like, so, yeah, you just have to kind of like sluice out, if somebody says that, something new physically happened, that's a sign, so stuff leaks out and you can kind of get a picture of what was going on underground.
Yeah. This is I don't know if you remember this, but a little while ago a report came out, some Russian UFO document leak on a fucking UFO attack. Basically they shot a missile at a UFO. A soldier did, apparently, and I don't know if I can't remember if it hit the UFO or not, but it pissed off the UFO enough to where it turned all of the soldiers that were there into limestone.
What year was this?
When it happened or when the leak came out?
If you know both.
I think when it happened, 89, I think. And then the leak came out, it was earlier this year. So this is a video on that I did. This is actually, I still have my old branding on this old video, but this is where I actually go through the report here. So this is actually really kind of fascinating. Check this out.
Here's the first document. As you can see, titled FBIS Foreign Press Note, dated 22 November 1989, USSR media report multitude of UFO sightings. Leading Soviet newspapers and journals have recently begun publishing an increasing number of articles and news reports on sightings of unidentified flying objects in various areas of the Soviet Union. A permanent center for the study of UFOs has been established in Moscow to conduct research and support the investigation of reported sightings.
Hey, just by the way, if you don't mind pausing
for
just a second.
Coverage was an article in the 9 July.
Okay, so a part of the thesis is by this time in 89, you're in the era where America is just about to take over the Soviet, empire and like have that fall. So you haven't quite got to the Phoenix lights over the U.S. population yet, or the Belgian wave in '93 with these triangles, but right. So if you can kind of like see what I'm laying down here, that's the notion basically, is that you've got this kind of. So an encroachment that people are talking about seeing stuff in the late 80s, kind of tracks. And now an example of like how this is testable as like a hypothesis is because I don't know, and I haven't looked this up, but I haven't dug into the geopolitics of Colares, Brazil. But if you take a look at the capabilities and the phenomenon, the science is comprehensible. So part of my thesis would say that there's a reason that Colares was being targeted geopolitically for capital interests like Dole fruit in the South America and stuff like that, right? There's probably some mining operation going there, just like that other Timothy Albarino, what was it, the face peeler attack or whatever, tied to mining, right? Tied to resources. So now I say this because if that's not the case, well, okay, interesting. Maybe I got something, like wrong, or maybe it is, demons or something like that. Or if it's correct, that's why I'm staking the ground, because it means like that would lead you to think that. Anyway, it's just, I think important with like a thesis and trying to like come up with what you're standing on. And I'm trying to be clear anyway, that's it.
Oh yeah, no, it's South America is there's something with South America, that's for sure, in my opinion. there's something going on there. What it is, I have no idea. Future humans. I'm telling you, it's future humans.
That's so interesting because I don't even think about. We can talk about that at length some other time, but like I never think in terms of like future humans. It's so funny that's where you have a direction towards.
It's just like when
I'm not making fun of it. I just haven't really thought it through, and just
yeah,
it seems like there's other things on the. In a way, I mean something, you know.
The thing is if we ever do figure out time travel, that means we're already doing it, right?
Yeah, but I guess like I think there's like probably some kind of constraint on that
I'm sure
that kind of obviates the thing of. Also, I think there's probably something like high level complexity, like beings of light, essentially. Sure. So I guess I wonder at what point does it shift over from being like all humans, you know, and it's like, oh, it's time traveling humans now. Because I do think there's probably a level where things are getting more interesting, for another word. There's some kind of transition or something like that.
It's a weird time.
I don't know. Yeah. No, I mean, but that is right. I mean, like a lot of these devices with this counter-rotating torsion effects, it's necessarily a time machine. It's like you're doing low energy nuclear reaction, you're doing levitation, you're doing transmutation, you're also manipulating time, turns out. These are all connected together by being a part of like the fabric of the universe. You know what I'm saying? Right. So it does. I mean, it does get interesting, and I just don't know about it, and I get ill, I guess, as I'm like frustrated in a new woods where it's time travel is on the table in a way, right? In a way, but like my thing is, I just want to not get caught up in baloney culture talks about it, if you don't understand exactly how it's going and you start making deductive hypotheses about what to do, you're going to be completely wrong. Because if it turns out that you can't even go back and it doesn't even work like that, and you spend all this time thinking it works in a certain way and like overinvest in that, that's why I just want to I don't even hardly know. I mean, I'm open up more to like now, like anything is possible, multiverse, because everything's always happening, everything's always connected or something. But I don't really understand the implications of that, you know.
Right. Yeah. How does, or as you said, so what? Right. Like what are you going to do about it?
Yeah. I mean, on one hand, like some of these so what's get really interesting because it might be that you could, I mean, if you listen to what some of these, anyway, we better leave off the ancient teachings here, but.
All right, let's go back to this one here because this is pretty crazy. They turned soldiers to limestone,
which referred to many recent reports of UFO sightings in the USSR.
And again, I apologize for the production value. This was very, very early in my journey here.
Interviewed by the paper, Pete Prokopenko, director of a lab for the study of anomalous phenomena, stated that a permanent center for the study of UFOs is being established in the Soviet Union. In addition to conducting research and presenting lectures on UFOs, the center will support the investigation of reported sightings. So it goes on here in referring about a number of issues, a paper published in July 88 that included a report on an amazing event that took place on Hill 611 near the village in Dolnogorsk in Primorskiv Krai. The article noted that the event is still under investigation. Observers saw a flying sphere crashed into one of the hill's twin peaks, and physicists and other scientists from the Siberian division of the USSR Academy of Sciences are still studying the fine mesh, small spherical objects, and pieces of glass that are considered to be small remnants left behind by the sphere. Wow. According to the article, the alleged spacecraft was nearly obliterated in the crash, but there appears to be enough material at the site for the scientists, a mixture of UFO enthusiasts and skeptics, to eventually penetrate this mystery, quote unquote. So we get into some of the findings here. In studying the site, scientist A. Makayev reported finding gold, silver, nickel, alpha titanium, molybdenum, and compounds of...
I'm trying to get to the attack
sit in
here.
for a moment. Origin. He cited the fact that the remnants of the mesh, evidence of an 25 July 1989 issue of the Soviet...
So this is like a lot of the report here, but there's a specific part that covers the attack, if I can get to it.
And instead of the widespread skepticism that he had, there's a report that a group of scientists had visited a field in Leningrad, in USSR, with a claim by UFO enthusiasts in the United States that a UFO had crashed in the desert near Roswell, New Mexico, in 40. Laganov, who stated at the same time 1,000 kilometers per mile. That's fast, folks.
Okay, here we go.
According to Laganov, because this is just what I was reading when I was reading this. So I'm going to read this word for word here from the document. Again, this is from the CIA, who received it from most likely Russian intelligence. So take it for what it is. It's not a 100% fact that this event happened. However, it was important enough that the CIA wanted to acquire it and actually made some interesting comments about it. Okay, so here we go. Reprint from the newspaper Chernobyl, can't pronounce it. Cosmic Revenge, first paragraph published in boldface. After Mikhail Gorbachev dissolved in 1991, the KGB Top Secret Intelligence Administration, a lot of material from that department found their way abroad, in particular to the CIA. As reported by the authoritative magazine Canadian...
I just want to apologize in advance. When you're new to this, you think you have to add dramatic music to everything. So bear with me, folks. I was figuring it out, okay?
In Weekly World News. U.S. intelligence obtained a 250-page file on the attack by a UFO on a military unit in Siberia. The file contains not only many documentary photographs and drawings, but also testimonials by actual participants in the events. One of the CIA representatives referred to this case as a, quote, a horrific picture of revenge on the part of extraterrestrial creatures, a picture that makes one's blood freeze. According to the KGB materials, a quite low-flying spaceship in the shape of a saucer appeared above a military unit that was conducting routine training maneuvers. For unknown reasons, somebody unexpectedly launched a surface-to-air missile and hit the UFO. So somebody wanted to be the first one to catch a UFO.
I got him.
Took out a surface-to-air missile and just
watch this, comrade.
It fell to the earth not far away. And 5 short humanoids with large heads and large black eyes emerged from it. What? It is stated in the testimonies by the 2 soldiers who remained alive, that after freeing themselves from the debris, the aliens came close together and then merged into a single object that acquired a spherical shape. That object began to buzz and hiss sharply, and then became brilliantly white. In a few seconds, the spheres grew much bigger and exploded by flaring up with an extremely bright light. At that very instance, 23 soldiers who had watched the phenomenon turned into stone poles. 23 soldiers turned into stone poles. Only 2 soldiers who stood in the shade and were less exposed to the luminous explosion survived. The KGB report goes on to say that the remains of the UFO and the petrified soldiers, that's a quote, were transferred to a secret scientific research institution near Moscow, which was sort of alluded to in that previous document we went over. Specialists assume that a source of energy that is still unknown to Earthlings instantly changed the structure of the soldiers' living organisms, having transformed it into a substance whose molecular composition is no different from that of limestone. A CIA representative stated, if the KGB file corresponds to reality, this is an extremely menacing case. The aliens possess such weapons and technology that go beyond all our assumptions. They can stand up for themselves if attacked. Yeah, I'd say that's true.
Yeah. I can't imagine like
what's crazy is this is like an official fucking government document. This isn't like the Inquirer. You know what I mean? Yeah, very interesting.
Well, then I think it's disinformation, but then I think, what would this serve? What point would this serve? Because it makes your military look powerless, like you don't have technical capabilities.
Right.
I mean, the lightning strike being thing was, I don't know. I don't know. What can
it's crazy. Say? Yeah. I mean, that, and that's why, like, I just read it word for word, and you know, it's nuts. But it is what it is. It's a report. It's like I said at the beginning of that, the CIA thought it was important enough to keep on file, and they did. So pretty interesting. Russia had this event.
That's beautiful.
In 1977. Yeah, that's supposed to be an actual photo of of what was hovering over Russia. Or what was the actual town? I'm so terrible even pronouncing Russian. Petrozavodsk. So this happened in 1977. And apparently this is what really sparked a lot of the interest in UFOs from the Soviet Union at the time. So I figured we could check this out for a moment.
Just by the way, 1977 was when Roswell was reported.
Isn't that interesting?
Isn't that interesting?
Also when this huge event in Russia happened. This was like the Phoenix Lights of Russia.
In the evening of September 20th, many residents of the city of Petrozavodsk noticed an unusual phenomenon in the sky. A bright light moving across the sky and changing colors. Soon, these observations became so widespread that they became the topic of conversations on radio and television. Among the witnesses were not only ordinary citizens, but also witnesses from the Petrozavodsk military base. Soon after the incident, the first reports of illnesses in some witnesses began to arrive. They developed headaches, nausea, and other symptoms. The event aroused great interest among scientists and government agencies. a special commission was organized to study the phenomenon. As a result, several versions were put forward about what could have happened that
Those photos are insane, right?
day.
Yeah.
Some scientists assumed that the observations were related to the interception by American satellites. Others believed that it was an ordinary meteor, and others claimed that it was a phenomenon related to UFO.
Oh, and I do want to give props here. This is AW Facts. AW Facts YouTube channel. So hop over there and subscribe if you haven't. They got some good stuff.
However, until now, the Petrozavodsk UFO phenomenon remained a mystery. It attracts the attention of both scientists and fans of mysterious phenomena. Some believe that it was a real contact with alien civilizations. This phenomenon is accurately described in secret archives. As you know, after the collapse of the Soviet Union, there was chaos and wars in the former republics almost everywhere. Plus, poverty, devastation, and corruption reached incredible proportions. Former Soviet generals even managed to sell entire cargo tankers with weapons, tanks, and fighters were sold in South America and Africa. And all this was done illegally. Former Soviet generals sold military equipment as personal items. These facts are very well described in the film Lord of War, where the main role is played by Nicolas Cage. Also, a lot of secret archival materials were sold. Rumors say that the United States was able to buy whole boxes of secret materials about unidentified phenomena after the collapse of the Soviet Union. Also,
now that wouldn't surprise me at all, because the Soviet Union, I mean, that government essentially did. They had kind of a fire sale once things collapsed, and that's a perfect movie to demonstrate Lord of War, where have you seen that one?
I have.
Yeah, where he sees the wall go down and he starts celebrating. He's like, oh, hell yeah. It's because he knows, like, all these generals are going to start selling all this shit they have because they're screwed now. And so it wouldn't surprise me at all if our intelligence went over there and just basically purchased anything they had on UFOs.
So now imagine that you've run that, like, just forward into the 90s, and then like what 9/11 offers. I mean, also like the Gulf War, you know, before that, like now you have like a new territory unlocks on the map, you know. You have get enough units to stay behind in order to you know, like risk terms or whatever. And then, you know, what is developing after that in the aughts and the tens, setting up a China and how China's emerging. That's the 21st century story. I mean, really, China has its own amazing 20th century story, you know, but anyway,
well, that's the thing about China. I think we don't think about it enough, is that, you know, we're relatively young as a country, 230 years or so.
Yeah, and that China is most of the world. That most of the world is Chinese.
Yes, and they've been around for over 2,000 years. So for folks that aren't good at math, that's about 10 times as old as we are, and still standing. So there's something to be said for that, I think. No, they have had their revolutions. Don't get me wrong. They have had their internal struggles, like many other countries, but they're still China, and they've been China for a long time.
Yeah,
grandfather,
I think is
a Soviet mate.
No, go ahead. What were you going to say?
I was just going to say that I think what's important about China at this point is that it's emerging in the 21st century, and that this transnational operation is emergent into the 21st century, with all sorts of powers in consolidation, having defeated Russia in the 90s and like got the head start. So now like Russia's like clearly an underdog falling behind. Like there's no way I'm going to be able to catch up. You know what I mean? Like you wrecked my car and stole my engine and all sorts of stuff. And,
and
like,
people wonder why Putin's saying get off my lawn in Ukraine, you know, because he knows like enough is enough for him. And I'll be honest, like I don't have a lot of interactions with Russians. Our media always tells us that election is rigged and it's always bullshit. And it may be, but I will say in my limited interaction, I did work with a Russian on a green card, and he told me they fucking love Putin. They love him. He stands up for them. He doesn't bow down. He's a tough guy. He doesn't cow down to the U.S. like many nation states do. They like him in Russia. They do. So as much as our media says, tells us that they don't and that it's all bullshit, they do.
Well, the big thing that's hard for like most Americans to get is that we're the fucking bad guy. And that, so like anybody who stands up to that looks like a hero to everybody else. So that Cuba, you're just going to punish them. It's like, so everybody has like rightful solidarity with Cuba, or, Russia and China. That's why you have a BRICS. You know what I mean? It's because there's this other side of this domination scheme where you're cut out of it, and you're, unless you are completely extractable, like you give up all of your rights and become an indebted, you know what I mean? Like then so it's just like a terrible deal, and everybody is right to be resisting it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So, more power to global brothers and sisters. But anyway.
Right. That's the thing, is they have a media. Now their media is state run. We say our media isn't state run.
No, Mockingbird, etc.
Yeah. Let me tell you something, folks. I had a friend in the Army that went in to psychological operations. Like that was his MOS. And we went to the same schooling, although we, different classes. So we were on the same post. So we would lunch together a lot. And I remember, I'll never forget this day. He looked like, he came and sat down, and he looked like white as a ghost, and you could just tell something was up. And after probing a little bit, he told me, dude, because we would have in our chow hall, there's all these TVs with, different news channels on. And he told me, like, it's all bullshit, man. He's like, it's all bullshit. Like, just everything.
What are you talking about, brother?
Hold on, exactly. He's like, the news, all of it. We plant everything. Like, everything is just bullshit. Yeah?
Come on. You can't be real.
Yeah. Well, look, as a young 20-something,
I'm not making fun of you. This is myself, man. No, dude,
you think there's no way, right? But then time passes, and you see what happens, that the media is manipulated to the government's will. So state run or not, it's heavily.
Here's a hard claim to accept. The most propagandized country in the world is America.
Right.
That's right. Not North Korea. That's right. Not Russia, not China, America as the most propagandized country in the world. Because it ends up being like this kind of seed of it. Whenever we were doing the research into what was going on with the emergence of the German Reich after World War I to World War II, it's so funny because you see them, it's like, there's this, like, they bounce back after World War I, and everybody talks about like their fashion and like their industry and their power. It's because they were getting all this capital like funded into them to prop up this kind of like like war bulwark, front nexus, the next, outpost in the empire of capital or whatever. Anyway.
Right.
But like everybody thinks that, like, where did that money come from? They were looking sharp on borrowed, plumped up capital. The same way, this is where I'm getting around to a point, the same way America is walking around and be like, we're the biggest in the world, best in the world, or whatever. It's like you're walking around on fluffed up blood money like extraction stuff that's not going to last, because that's part of the deal, is that like some
Very
people move
true.
around to where you end up like paying in because like you think that like it's going to go a certain way, but then that can
Yep.
just be ripped out and it'll all move over. And if you had any savings, other things will increase in prices to make sure you never get ahead, because it's not built for you and it's captured and it's not a free market and et cetera. Right.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, man. It really is. And look, to your point, so what are you going to do about it? It's a great point. It's a great way to think. And I would just say, as far as it goes, folks, and I've hit on this before, if you're arguing with a family member because of what some politician on a TV said, you're doing it wrong. People were like not talking to each other over the Trump election in their own family. And that kind of division is like, you have to understand that's exactly what they want.
Yeah. The real thing here, and this kind of gets to the so what, is like the radical organization that's required. Like, I don't blame people for most of this stuff, because it's like really hard and it's unprecedented, and the like people are yelling fire in the theater, but like the entrances are blocked and they forgot to yell that part, by an arsonist who doesn't want us to escape. They forgot to that's not a part of the framing. And so the idea that now we have to organize to like break a hole in a soft part of a wall and find it together, like, is at risk of being overshadowed by people rushing to an exit that's blocked. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And this is a sloppy metaphor, but I think you can kind of like
I'm picking up what you're putting down. Yeah,
exactly. And so, it's just important to be, clear about the, like the level of the capture and stuff like that, because that gets to the so what. It's like, so what? All right, well, we could run script for revolutionary action and dissemination of technologies that could revolutionize energy and healing and medicine and food and shelter and stuff like that. So and I brushed past all that because
that's a new one for me. Healing. How would 0 point or vacuum energy, whatever you call it, how would that help with healing?
I guess it's understanding everything is like vibration and frequency, and then you can get to some interesting applications based on that.
Okay,
there's
I can
kind
see
of
that,
there's kind
yeah.
of like two ways to go about it. One is constructive, where you could take some aspect that needs to have a certain kind of, for like a kind of a way of thinking about this. Maybe you're familiar with cymatics, the sand
No.
on a plate, that if you vibrate the plate at a certain frequency, the sand will take on a certain form. And it
Okay,
won't.
yeah.
You've seen those, right? And
Yeah, I
if
just didn't know
you-
what it's called.
yeah, exactly. So it's called cymatics. The thing is a Chladni plate, Chlandi plate, just to give
Okay.
credit to the inventor. But anyway, it sets up this principle about resonance and nodes and waveforms and standing waves and all the stuff you can kind of like see, where you're like, oh, that's what 432,000 somethings, that's what that looks like, I guess,
Okay.
and this
Gotcha.
two-dimensional slice. Now imagine also that if you did that in a bubble, you would see something very different, but you're seeing something in a two-dimensional slice, just by the way, just to keep perspective.
Sure.
But so you can think about the body as kind of maintaining these shapes that if you lose your frequency, they can kind of crumble, like the architecture, like the arches start to break, and if
Okay.
you move it down to a certain new level, this is to that musical quality of the cosmos again, because at a specific new level that has a relationship with the level above it and below it, it'll have a new structure that's complete and coherent.
Oh man, something just hit my head, creative wise. Just creative wise. That would be a great title for an episode, my friend. Music of the Cosmos. Tuning in to the music of the cosmos, or something like that. Yeah.
Something like that. It's got a little something on it.
Yeah, there's something there. There's something there. So whenever I think China and UFOs, my brain instantly goes to this video from the Eyes on Cinema account. Have you ever checked out Eyes on Cinema on
shout
YouTube?
out Eyes on Cinema.
Yeah, dude, great stuff. This so this was in China, right? And this was in the 90s. It was either the late 90s or the aughts. And this happened, and it was crazy. Like, I remember seeing this on the news, and then the next day, everybody just kind of went about their business, and it just was what it was. Check out this video. Have you seen this?
Maybe it looks familiar.
Yeah, this sighting shut down the airport. So right now, it's actually over an airport, and it shut that airport down. And you'll see that it's not just like one photo. There's multiple photos. There's a couple of videos. It's pretty crazy. Check this out. It's like, as far as sightings go, it's
wow,
one of the crazier ones in my book. Yeah.
There was an unknown object seen in the skies over the airport, so according to our regulations, we had to close the airspace. Aircraft movements were suspended from 8:45 p.m. to 9:41 p.m.
Airport staff say the first reports of the UFO came in just after 8 p.m. from both air traffic controllers and civilians.
I heard that some of the passengers whose flights just landed saw the object, which appeared as glowing lights. It was not a normal civil aviation flight. What it actually was, no one knows.
During the hour in which airspace was closed, 6 flights were grounded and 12 inbound flights had to be diverted to nearby airports at Ningbo, Wuxi and Shanghai. In total, almost 1,000 passengers were inconvenienced by the closure.
Yeah, you know, that reeks of yeah, I think I've seen this one. Now this is interesting because what that shows, this is not faked.
And you see that little orb there? There's a little orb movement there too, like. This is crazy. And yeah, this is not AI. I would wager it's not CGI, because I don't know any CGI that was working that smooth back then.
A UFO in China's skies forced Zhoushan Airport to stop operations on July 7th. Outbound flights were grounded after the
This is the only questionable part, in my opinion, just because the way it takes
unidentified
off
flying object was detected by a
looks
flight
a little too perfect. Like, watch when it jets off. That, you see that? How do you animate that?
Hold on. Here's the thing. Well, no, we talked about this. You can see the same
The
thing in another
flash.
video. Yeah. So, but specifically, if you watch what happens, it goes from top and curls around to the bottom in that toroidal thing that we talked about before.
Right.
Like
right.
Because there was another video and the identical thing. I didn't make this up just now. It's so funny that we're seeing it, but you'll see this thing that like rises up and then bows around and bends and goes down to the bottom. That's like a key characteristic of these toroidal field formations. You know?
Yeah.
It didn't go the other way. It did the same thing where it's bows up at the top.
So it goes
and
to
then
the top. Yeah.
And curls
then,
over around on either side at the same
Right.
time, making a bubble. You know?
That's crazy. So
Isn't that
you're
funny?
saying it matches up with the science.
It matches up with the observable ways this is known to kind of be working. Yeah. Yeah.
Unreal. I mean, this was...
Look, I mean, you can see it. Like, it starts off, look at that vector, right? That's like a north vector. And then it spreads to either side. And then it curls down around at the same time. And it makes this, you know, like a field configuration, a toroidal field configuration.
So wild.
I'm not saying that I understand this inside and out, but I'm saying it's so weird that is exactly understandable as like a feature of the phenomena.
Yeah,
Whether it's glebe glorps or whether it's CEOs or whatever, you know, like it's just a toroidal field.
To me, yeah, well, hearing you say that, it's just further confirmation for me, because I mean, I pretty much had my mind made up on this video a while ago. Like, I don't see anything that would make me think this video is bullshit. I mean, there's...
Yeah, no, what's very interesting was the other one where it was the first time you see video, and those interference patterns are very authentic. Like, that's just like real wave interference phenomena.
You think?
And,
Like
that
the
one,
things
that
are
one right
maybe
here.
emitting.
Just watch what's happening there. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Those are just, and that actually is showing you how this thing is moving, because these kinds of configurations and alignments allow it to have stabilities, and by being turned on its side, it can kind of like hover. If it was flat wise, it might be doing a different kind of a thing. That's
Right.
showing you like how its fields are being set up. Like, notice how it's like, it looks like flashlights, because it's essentially the same thing. You're
Yeah.
focusing energies at certain points, and
Or what do you think it's doing with it? It looks like some
now
kind
the
of a
orbs
scan.
it might just be setting up like how it's going to be moving itself in a moment, because that's how you might be setting up your own field to be doing something. I wish this was all connected together to see, because this is like forensic. Like, this is like looking at atom bomb footage, but no one ever told you there's an atomic bomb, and you're like,
It's wild.
I think they figured out an atom bomb, and look at this footage and see, you know what I mean?
Right.
That's kind of what we have with these videos, is black programs.
Yeah.
But just one last thing, if this was happening in the 90s, just think about like what that means, that after the fall of the Soviet Empire, that you've got this is like big dick energy to go around and say that, like, hey, Phoenix, hey, Belgium, hey,
Yeah.
China, hey, Russia, like, look at what we're doing in aerospace. We're just recently consolidated, by the way, and we're open for business.
Yeah, which, this to me, I think government. I mean, I feel like this was the Chinese government taking their new toy out for a spin and letting people know about it.
I think this is America dancing all over China and saying,
Oh,
don't get any
okay.
big ideas. Don't
You
get
think
any big
so?
ideas. We can do this.
Okay.
I think
That's
it's also
interesting.
something that they do in America, where they're like, we can just do this, and you guys need to understand it. And we understand that you'll say this is aliens or something, or not believe it, in a percentage that is to our benefit. Keep
Right.
thinking that. Now, to the
Yeah.
other people, you guys, the generals, are going to know that's not us. So this is a message. See how the message works differently for different
Yeah.
people? Like, the
Yeah.
average person might be like, oh, our Chinese people think that. And maybe China is like, okay, let's say that it does, but where the fuck did this come from? You know what I mean? And like, we have good reason to believe it's American, sir. We have good reasons to believe it's aliens. I think they understand like what it is deep down. And these are
Yeah.
gestures. And this is like, don't ever even think about it. By
Right.
the way,
Show
you know?
force. Yeah.
Yeah.
Interesting. Okay. We're going to switch it up a little bit. This is the new Comet. So honestly, I'm not even going to say a bunch because I don't know a ton. I just know that this thing is supposed to be huge. It's supposed to make 3i look small. And I believe it's an interstellar traveler as well. So I'm going to play this and step away. I'll be right back.
Are you going to play the whole thing? Because I might get a drink there. So.
I am. It's
Astronomers have
8
discovered
minutes.
Comet C 2014
And it's from NASA.
UN271 Bernardinelli Bernstein, likely the largest known comet with an 85-mile wide nucleus. Now near Neptune, it's unusually active, releasing gas jets, including carbon monoxide, far from the sun. Originating from the Oort cloud, it presents a rare opportunity to study ancient solar system material and potentially uncover clues to life's origins. Comet C/2014 UN271 was first observed in 2014 through archival images from the Dark Energy Survey. While initially seen as a distant icy body, its massive size quickly made it a subject of great interest. With a diameter of 85 miles, the comet is far larger than the asteroid that caused the extinction of the dinosaurs, which measured only about 6 miles across. The comet is currently located 16.6 astronomical units from the sun, roughly 1.5 billion miles away. But it is already exhibiting unusual activity for its distance. Unlike most comets, which become active as they approach the sun, this comet has been seen emitting jets of gas, including carbon monoxide, even from such a great distance. This makes it the first time that carbon monoxide has been detected on a comet so far from the sun, providing astronomers with a unique opportunity to study its composition and behavior. The comet's size and activity are significant because they allow scientists to investigate the primordial material that formed the solar system. Comets are considered time capsules from the early solar system, containing clues about the conditions that existed when the sun and planets were forming. This comet's size suggests it may be one of the original building blocks of the solar system. Its study could help reveal the processes that led to the formation of the outer planets and offer insight into the volatile compounds that may have contributed to the development of life on Earth. As the comet moves inward, scientists are closely observing its changing activity. Its behavior, even far from the sun, could reveal how comets evolve and release gas and dust as they approach the star. Comets are often described as dirty snowballs, composed of ice, dust, and organic compounds, remnants from the formation of the solar system. As such, they hold crucial information about the early conditions of the solar system, serving as a kind of time capsule. The study of these objects provides insight into the materials that existed when the planets were first forming, offering clues about the processes that led to the creation of Earth and the emergence of life. C 2014 UN271 is of particular interest because it may carry organic compounds, molecules containing carbon, hydrogen, oxygen, and nitrogen that are fundamental to life. Comets like this one could have delivered essential organic molecules to Earth during its early years, playing a role in the origins of life. This theory, known as panspermia, suggests that life on Earth may have been seeded by material from comets, and studying this comet could provide crucial evidence to support or challenge this idea. In addition to organic compounds, the comet is emitting jets of carbon monoxide, an essential component of many organic molecules. The fact that carbon monoxide has been observed at such a great distance from the sun is highly significant. It shows that even in the cold, distant reaches of the solar system, comets contain the chemical building blocks that were once present in the early solar system. As the comet moves closer to the sun, it will continue to release more gas, providing scientists with a richer understanding of its chemical makeup. This discovery lets astronomers study how comets evolve as they near the sun. As C 2014 UN271 approaches, scientists can observe its changing behavior, offering insights into how other Oort cloud comets might behave. The journey of Comet C2014 UN271 is just beginning, and future observations promise to unlock even more secrets. The comet is expected to reach its closest approach to the sun, or perihelion, in January 2031. At that time, it will pass just outside the orbit of Saturn, making it an ideal subject for study. As the comet moves closer to the sun, it will become more active, and astronomers will be able to collect more detailed data on its behavior. Astronomers are preparing to observe this comet using both ground-based and space telescopes. The Vera C. Rubin Observatory, which is set to begin operations soon, will track the comet's movements in real time, providing crucial data on its activity. Space telescopes like Hubble and the James Webb Space Telescope will also play a critical role in capturing high-resolution images of the comet and studying the gases it emits. What makes this comet particularly exciting is that it comes from the Oort cloud, a mysterious and poorly understood region that lies far beyond the orbit of Neptune. The Oort cloud is thought to contain billions of icy bodies, many of which have never been studied in detail. C2014 UN271 provides a rare opportunity to study an object from this distant region up close, and as it nears the sun, it will shed more of its icy surface, revealing new information about the chemical composition of the Oort cloud and its role in the formation of the solar system. In addition to enhancing our understanding of comets, this discovery will help researchers learn more about the early solar system and how the solar system evolved. Comet C 2014 UN271 offers a rare look into the early solar system. Its massive size and distant gas emissions provide clues about ancient icy bodies from the Oort cloud. As it nears the sun, scientists hope to learn more about comet evolution and their possible role in the origins of life. This discovery marks a key opportunity to better understand our cosmic history.
That was weird. It just kind of like... Oh, I guess it's summarizing it up there. Okay. So I guess is that looks like a link to a paper. The first detection of molecular activity in the largest known Oort cloud. Oort! I don't know why that sounds so funny to me. ALMA imaging of C 2014 UN271 6.6 AU from the sun. So yes, that just looks like a research paper to me. Interesting. What are your thoughts on that? Oh, you're muted, I think.
I said I was making a drink and missed most of it. Is it going to kill us?
Well, it's bigger than the comet that wiped out all the dinosaurs, apparently.
All right, so you're saying we have a chance.
It does not appear that it's on a trajectory to hit Earth. At least, not that they're telling us. So that's good. But apparently, yes, it is Gigantor. And it's another interstellar one. I guess this is the only actual... where did it go? Okay. Yeah, I guess that's the only actual image we have of it. What were your thoughts on 3i? As that was going on. I mean, I guess it's still going on, right?
Yeah, I guess so. I don't have any interesting take on it. For me, it's kind of on a pay no mind, like small potato thing. Like, unless it's going to, hit us or be like some dramatic shift. I'm just wary of it. It just could be utilized against us to be, the alien invasion narrative or just a distraction. And, let's say that if there were a comet that was dead on, couldn't stop Earth killing. So what? We'd probably want some of these technologies that we've been talking about. You know what I mean? That'd probably be the way to knock it out, cut it out.
Or if you're one of these rich elite, you just go to the underground tunnels, right?
Yeah, yeah.
That's how they...
Well, even that, like, I mean, maybe. Anyway, I don't want to make too many assumptions because, like, maybe.
Yeah.
They think that, and that's not going to work out. And maybe they've realized that too. Maybe something.
Sorry, didn't mean to interrupt with the music there.
That's neat.
Oh, this is just background UFO stuff. Yeah, I didn't really... I was just so disgusted with Avi Loeb, I think is the best word. Because here's the thing, like, I know scientists, researchers are responsible for a lot of times for getting their own funding. And I totally get that. I understand, like, maybe what's the right word? Embellishing a little bit on what a certain project, what kind of results a certain project might give you to get the funding or whatever, right? Get media attention so people will want to fund it, that sort of thing. I get all that. But I just felt like what he was doing was fear mongering. I felt like he was trying to scare people and then saying, just give me a couple of those billions of federal dollars and, you know, I'll figure it out and I'll have all the answers for you. That I didn't like. It just left a gross taste in my mouth.
All right. Well, I hear you. You know,
yeah. Harvard
it,
or not, I don't care. I just felt like it was dishonest and it was nonsense. Look, these are crazy times and it's a sensitive subject. You already have people out there that think we're going to get invaded by aliens in 2027 or whatever that year was, right? 2026, 2027. You know that's out there.
This video right now, by the way, this is the kind of phenomena I'm interested in highly. That stuff right here, there,
yeah,
that's that stuff,
orb type stuff, or yeah.
Now that might be baloney. That looked maybe a little.
Oh,
bit,
it all could be. Yeah.
That looked a little bit baloney, but there's stuff like that is like that. Just by the way, I just
absolutely.
Yeah.
My mom, thinks my mom saw something that was really kind of weird like that. She said she saw like 4 or 5 orbs that were like lined up in a row, and they all moved together, and then they just poofed and split up. And I said, well, it could be maybe a satellite or a satellite bunch or something like that. Because I know that, God, dude, we got so much shit flying around in our orbit. It's just wild. Pretty soon we're not going to be able to leave our own planet, you know, because we're going to have so much shit flying around it. I'm serious.
We're breaking through the space trash wall.
Yeah, forget the Van Ryan belt. We're gonna have the trash belt. We're not gonna be able to get through, you know.
But some of the stuff does have, especially with the string chains, or like the bead chains, like a bracelet, like a bead bracelet, but cut, so it's just like a string of beads. You know what I mean? String of pearls. A string of pearls. That's a structure in knot topology that comes from like when you pluck a guitar string, right? It has these like nodes, like you would have beads,
right?
And it's just a form of expression with these, and this like plasma dynamics. And so basically, you can get things like that kind of like line up and can kind of follow one or the other because one's like parts the way for the others to come in and different things, and they can form into one thing or spit off other little others. So it's just very compelling. If you have the eyes to see that, oh, there's something here. There's a here to plasma orb videos. And because no one's going to talk about it, you gain something by checking it out whenever you can.
Now, do you think, as far as the plasma stuff goes, right?
Mm-hmm.
So maybe this is a simplistic way of looking at it, but do you think that these things are doing what they're doing because they've been programmed to do so, or they're autonomous, free thinking, free will type of the actual orbs themselves are alive? Oh yeah, that's a wild one. That's one I think you look at and you go, that's got to be fake, right? Because if that's not fake, we're in trouble.
Now that if that's true, I have no idea. If that's true, I have no Lockheed Martin patent in mind for that. I cannot accommodate that.
No, that's weird. But yeah, I think that's definitely
very cool.
But yeah, very creative. Very creative.
I bet that's I bet that coat showed up in the 2000s. Anyway,
Probably.
sorry,
Yeah,
what
it
was your
had to have
question?
been. Well, so the orb thing, okay, so if these orb things are flying around, we see them, we see Bloodsoe talking about having a relationship with them, some type of relationship with them.
Yeah, lots of people have orbs in their mouth.
Do you think that they are just doing what they've been programmed to do by something, or are they autonomous, free thinking, living beings?
I think that this gets into like a state of being with plasma physics. So many things can fall into this, namely natural phenomena. I think that crop circles might be natural plasma phenomena.
Boy, that'd be weird, right? Yeah.
Same thing as like orbs of light and the lights of whatever. Like these are just natural phenomena, like interesting, like tornadoes. Wow, you know what I mean?
Right.
Like giant earthquakes. Like wow, but like kind of neutral, right? Then there's things that can be utilizing a technology that would be utilizing some of these natural phenomenon. And then that gets into kind of two branches, which is really advanced and deeply ahead using stuff that's a part of the universe. So everything's going to be doing this basically. And it's kind of like, how much of this can you do? Have you figured out space isn't empty yet as a baby species? Have you even got there, you little dumb hairless apes? You know what I mean? And then with our stuff, it's yeah. Does that kind of get at it? There's a little bit of a branch on this.
So they're autonomous.
Oh, and also there could be like maybe just like it's the consciousness phenomena expression, like conscious stars, spirits as balls of light, like that's a realm, and then include that with advanced technology of other things that aren't us, but we're all connected, right?
Yeah.
And then also stuff that we can do, plus also natural phenomena, and then maybe another category we just haven't come up with yet.
See, I get confused because so like I did an episode on ITER, right? Where they're
like
generating
toroidal
plasma to heat, cold fusion kind of a thing. And they talk about generating a plasma, right, to create this heat. But then I hear people talk about orbs and they talk about plasma orbs. Are we talking about the same energy?
Yeah. Yeah. It's in this case, think about it as the iter is like a donut and the orbs are kind of like a modification of a donut. And these are topologies where if you have a ball, oh, this is good. We have visuals. So if you have a ball, right? And then if you press the sides down, you kind of get a donut.
Right.
Right. And if you, and in fact, you could technically say that a ball sphere is a torus, technically, in a certain kind of a way.
What do you mean by a torus?
By doing this, what you're getting to is configurations. And it's something about the torus and these vortexes that give you this configuration of power, just as a tornado understands this, as the double helix of our DNA understands this. And so that's where you get into it being like a natural phenomenon that you can just kind of like understand if you can. And that's why you could be more advanced if you get it more, I guess.
And if you get it more, you could possibly manipulate it and bend it, basically.
Like, I think that, like, as far as the, like, let's take this to like a maximum, like maybe not us, but aliens, probably.
Okay.
You could basically make a bubble around yourself And by being that bubble, you could be any point anywhere and then pop the bubble and be there. Like, that's wild.
That is wild. That's like,
You know?
oh God, what was that movie? Push or whatever, where he could like just, he could jump to anywhere he saw, essentially. It's kind of crazy.
Yeah, and imagine this is like you're just communicating through the fabric. So you're just being, okay, where in fabric do you want to go? Just be there in the fabric by just, I'll just fold into the fabric and then pop out of the next place of the fabric. And I'm instantly there because I'm just communicating through the fabric. So that's the teleportation, how it's instant and it's faster than light and it's super luminal, and how it's connected to gravity, which is an instantaneous force, by the way. So all this stuff points to a kind of like a, easy to understand kind of a way once you see it this way. Like you could just take your vibration and then just move it over here. And then now you're vibrating your being over here.
I wonder if, it makes me wonder if this is what the kind of stuff like Matthew Brown was trying to sort of warn us about. Like everybody, I don't know if you know about Matthew Brown, the whistleblower, but he came out, did the whistleblowing on the Weaponized podcast. If you've heard of the Immaculate Constellation leak, he was the guy that actually put that together and leaked it. And he came out on X and he posted this kind of cryptic text. I think I might, let me see if I have it still. But people were calling it cryptic and like it was weird, and it might
all words that say nothing specific. Yep. This is the Livelsberger Tesla bomber guy, is it?
No. Matthew Brown. No. Yeah. Different guy.
That was Livelsberger, wasn't it? Matthew Livelsberger.
Livelsberger is the one that did the Tesla thing.
I mean, what he said in that speaks to, the advanced technology, like cracking, just by the way. But anyway, to your point.
Absolutely, dude. It does. Yeah, absolutely. Let me find. Okay, so here's one. Interested in real asystematic advantage to wield in this political adventure you have started, as you know, Let's see. Here we go. That must have been a bitter drought indeed, though probably nowhere near as bad as learning that Sam Altman had betrayed you. Don't worry, we have not forgotten who is responsible for murdering the first sentient artificial intelligences created in the public realm. At Schallenberger, justice is coming thanks to the FBI and U.S. Navy. Still, you played a marvelous catch-up game in this area, despite being caught unawares. So how about something else? Maybe energy and propulsion. Getting to Mars will require serious, and he spells it SIRIUS, amounts of both. And rockets feel so 1947 to me, don't they to you? Remember when you were briefed by the special executive staff of Donald Trump on marsupial? Pretty nifty how NGA is able to keep track of all those non-structured light energy craft flying around the world. But they were lying to you when they said we don't know how they work. Anyway, next time you are visiting Washington, D.C., ask for a tour of at NAS Pax River PAO. Since you have all the clearances, it shouldn't be an issue for you to get a tour of the special project hangars owned by Amentum Corp and other fun spaces. Make sure to look up. Yeah, so what do you think of some of that there?
The two specifics I'm looking up now, Amentum Corp and NASPA X River POW. Amentum Corporation is a major contractor at Naval Air Station Patuxent River, okay, providing critical support services, blah, 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 blah. Role, Pax River, contracts. I'm just looking for key, pronoun, like nouns here. DynCorp, oh boy, that's a, yeah, no, I don't know. He is being, maybe energy and propulsion. He's being vague, but these are two specific names. The Amentum Corp, that's worth looking into, and if we go into our montage mode, and really dig in, we could dive into it. But, a couple of things,
here's another
is
one.
what he said about,
No, go ahead.
No, he had a couple of things like the non-structured light craft, and then the GeoInt or whatever, which is the I believe referring to satellite capabilities there. And so, again, he's not really saying anything, but non-structured light energy craft, that is a specific way of talking about something that is, for example, called long-living luminous plasmas or plasmoids. So if you cut through the length, you have to see like what people are saying and see that it's just the same. Like it's like Spanish and English and German all saying apple,
Okay. Right.
And so in a way it's like, okay, well, they are talking about these plasma entities, at least in this text, and,
it's
and it's
weird,
interesting
right?
because, like, again, I think that's where the alien people have a lot. That's where their hopes lie, and rightly so. I think there's magic going on there, but it's also where it's being used by corporations, and so it's also a natural phenomenon, and
right.
So understanding it's like how your body works, how you're like, so like your blood cells are a torus too, right? Like everything. And so it keeps coming back up. That's how it gets into health, because you can understand things as structures like cymatic frequencies, and maybe you need to boost structures, or maybe there's a bad structure, and maybe you need to understand how shattering things work with resonance, and you need to go like 10 or 11 times over the harmonic. Like take the frequency of something times 11 and then pump that in and shatter it.
Right.
These are to answer earlier back the health solutions.
Yeah.
What about shattering cancer, and what about boosting immune systems?
Yeah. Well, and it's interesting that talking about health, that so many of these reports include, oh yeah, and by the way, the people were negatively affected health-wise. And I think, like you're saying, I think there's something to that. It's like this energy.
Well, these guys are specifically getting hit with strange radiation. These are kinds of these neutrino fluxes, or these like super, they're making the spaces even more energized. And so they're like giving like X-ray bursts and like radioactive bursts. This is beautiful, by the way. But just really quick, a lot of these craft, it's like you don't want to be near these fields that are like highly enriching, quote, quote, so to speak, this area. There's places where it's perfectly safe, but then there's places where it's like standing in front of a jet engine. You know what I mean? Like you're going to get, instead of getting sucked into it, stuff is going to get like blown through you, and like, or you're going to have your energy ripped out one way or the other.
Yeah, it doesn't sound good.
No, but those videos are great. Can we go back to some of those? Those are great, by the way. I'm loving these.
Which I think that was the Fukushima ones. These ones here.
Oh, the Fukushima. When are those dates? Because I'm honestly like, with this timeline and thesis and stuff, like I'm still trying to be like, maybe I'm completely wrong. Like maybe we had no capabilities like
that's me
this.
every day.
We really need to follow aliens for the 80s and 90s. But it seems like we had orb technologies in the aughts.
Yeah,
and we had triangles in the 90s, and we had saucers in the 60s and 50s. And in the 70s, we had Tic Tacs and some other stuff. So
it's so crazy, man. Yeah, I know you were saying there was like reports of Tic Tacs in the 70s. I think I probably, I just didn't even realize that. Either I read it and forgot it, or just didn't even realize it. So crazy. And then there's that. Did you ever see that leak of the bass stuff on Reddit?
No, I don't think so.
It's pretty interesting too. Somebody leaked. So we had that one piece of bass report, but it was heavily redacted, and like there was whole sections missing and everything. And somebody went on Reddit and just like posted it all. I don't know where they got it. I don't know who
That's
they
interesting.
were.
See that stuff. That stuff. I like that stuff.
Oh yeah, this stuff here. Yeah, those are. Have you seen the one
what
where it
you're
looks like
looking
there's a
for is
bunch of them on the
you're looking
moon?
for like hydrodynamic, geometric interactions in their motion. Like, are they following some kind of vortex topology like theirs? They like connect together. I don't know, but that would be part of the thesis, right? These are hydrodynamic structures.
Yeah. Yep. Okay. One last piece of UFO news, and then I want to hear about your energy stuff here. Because
Oh, if you'd like.
yeah, it sounds super interesting. Okay. There was apparently a crash at Roswell. I don't know if it was a UFO crash or a regular jet, but this was just this last week here.
For several weeks now about a mysterious object of unknown origin that fell from the sky and crashed just near Area 51. And tonight, the public is still in the dark.
So that crash was quickly covered up, both literally and figuratively. 8 News Now Chief Investigator George Knapp thinks the official story, as told by the military, is false.
And we are lucky because George joins us here in the studio with more on what he's now dug up. George?
Well, how quickly might the government respond to a crash of an unknown object? What happened back on September 23rd on public land outside the boundary of Area 51 is a textbook example of how crash retrievals work. And to no one's surprise, pretty much everything told to the public since then is pure fiction.
You can see this in F-18.
Scanners and computers inside this room listen to and record radio traffic inside Area 51 round the clock. On the morning of September 23rd, York Arnu heard some astonishing news.
Had my cup of coffee and I'm listening to Area 51 security, and all of a sudden they get very serious. Locked down the base.
Arnu learned there'd been a large but totally secret air operation in the middle of the night and that something had gone wrong.
So we just had an asset go down. We had an asset go down. This is not breach security, this is Area 51 security. And they had an asset go down. And then the next thing.
That's clear. Also supposed to be advised is a UAV unmanned aircraft with ordnance.
He picked up details about strict security measures which were implemented almost immediately. Not only was Area 51 itself locked down, but within a very short time, so too was a large swath of the Tikaboo Valley. It became clear that some kind of craft had crashed miles outside of Area 51's boundaries on public land adjacent to Highway 375, also known as the ET Highway. Arnu jumped in his truck and headed south from his home in Rachel. But while driving on what's known as Mailbox Road, he ran into an armed patrol.
They had the gun in front of them, not pointed at me, but very visibly in front of them. And it was clear they meant business.
He backtracked and headed south on the ET Highway to Groom Lake Road, the main entrance to the base. It too was blocked off by sheriff's deputies and military security. A military helicopter with an attached basket was sitting there, presumably ready to haul out wreckage of something. A pair of porta potties suggested the team planned to be there for a while.
Almost the entire Tikaboo Valley was shut down.
At the Little Ailey Inn in Rachel, employees were in the dark about a crash, but saw the beefed-up security at closed-off roads and knew something big was unfolding. Crashes are not an everyday occurrence out here, but locals have seen plenty of them over the decades.
If this thing would have crashed anywhere in restricted airspace, in restricted area, we would have never known about it.
After being turned away from the presumed crash site, Arnu and the aerospace sleuths on his website, dreamlandresort.com, began gathering and sharing bits and pieces of information. The FAA had ordered the closure of airspace over a particular spot in the valley. That was a big clue. Then 4 days after the crash, the security teams vanished. Arnu went back out for a look. The Air Force had used heavy equipment to plow a dirt road across a section of desert Arnu followed it and found what he thought was the crash site, then shared it online. That's when things got strange, even by Area 51 standards. A second wave of cleanup crews descended on the site, presumably to pick up any remaining debris, but they also used graders to cover the entire area with a thick layer of dirt, literally a cover-up. Creech Air Force Base, which is home to a fleet of Reaper drones and other UAVs, issued a statement explaining that the, quote, unmanned aircraft was one of theirs. The same statement claimed someone had been tampering with the crash site and had scattered assorted pieces from other aircraft, along with an inert training bomb. The Air Force said the FBI was investigating this alleged tampering at the site.
Okay, so that's fucking weird, right? Why would you be scattering debris from other planes around and literally covering up the site with dirt? And like, that's the whole thing is weird, right? They say that's what they did at the Roswell crash, that when they took all the stuff away, they threw a bunch of other random metal and apparently a whole bunch of tin cans melted down and stuff like that to like confuse the scene if anybody were to go back there years later. That's kind of how Pasolka's that's kind of how Pasolka's book starts, is them out there at one of those areas. And there's like tin cans and like they're just like in the middle of the desert somewhere. It's super strange. But why would they scatter parts of other aircraft?
Well,
essentially contaminating the scene.
Okay, what's one explanation for that?
Well, you're trying to cover up whatever classified craft you're working on, which is, but
okay.
It just seems strange.
I'm not saying that's the case. I'm not
saying
saying that is the case. I'm not saying that is the case. I'm just saying that I'm glad you see that too. That is a logical follow on that.
Yeah. I think like, I mean, my mind
sprinkling some crack on it. You know what I mean?
Sprinkling some crack. Yeah, exactly. So, sprinkle some crack on them. Call the cops. Let's get out of here.
Put some gasoline propulsion on there, whatever. You know, how high does it be?
Yeah, I mean, you're right. Usually I go to the most grounded, explanation, but it's just weird to think about these people at an official capacity contaminating a crash site, because at the end of the day, that's what it is. And it's that right there is breaking the law.
Well, I guess do you know the nature of okay, like I'm just following in this, like, okay, all right, like warm up here. Like, let's see. Cause also like, maybe this is not true. I'm taking it that it is for the game.
Oh yeah, he had the recording. Right? Yeah. This is the local news there.
So like I'm just taking it like for granted. So like let's say that it is true then, and then we can kind of go with that. Sorry, I lost my train of thought, but I see where you're going with I'm thinking about as you like investigate this and you assume that like some people might have capabilities, then how it leads. Sorry, but I feel like I cut you off.
No, not at all, bud. This is a free thinking space. Throw it, whatever. There's no, I'm not going anywhere with anything.
I just lost my point and I've got to come back around the orbit, and it can be a pretty tight orbit, but I just
You're good, buddy. So I guess it's just like I was saying. It's just
do we need
really
to define
weird.
Where the who found it? Like, do we know like the who of things? Because like, is it a like corporate element that's going out there? I think he said it was right? Is it some kind of a contractor?
I think he said it was just them, right? Here, we'll start over.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Oh wait, we need to start there. Here we go. Okay.
Well, how quickly might the government respond to a crash of an unknown object? What happened back on September 23rd on public land outside the boundary of Area 51 is a textbook example of how crash retrievals work. And to no one's surprise, pretty much everything told to the public since then is pure fiction.
You can see this in F-18.
Scanners and computers inside this room listen to and record radio traffic inside Area 51 round the clock. On the morning of September 23rd, York Arnu heard some astonishing news.
Had my cup of coffee and I'm listening to Area 51 security, and all of a sudden they get very serious. Locked down the base.
Arnu learned there'd been a large but totally secret air operation in the middle of the night and that something had gone wrong.
So we just had an asset go down. We had an asset go down. This is not Creech security, this is Area 51 security. And they had an asset go down. And then the next thing.
Yeah, clear. Also, short be advised is a UAV, unmanned aircraft with ordnance.
He picked up details about strict security measures.
So there's ordnance as well.
Unmanned which were implemented almost immediately. Not only was Area 51 itself locked down, but within a very short time, so too was a large swath of the Tikaboo Valley. It became clear that some kind of craft had crashed miles outside of Area 51's boundaries on public land adjacent to Highway 375, also known as the ET Highway. Arnu jumped in his truck and headed south from his home in Rachel. But while driving on what's known as Mailbox Road, he ran into an armed patrol.
They had the gun in front of them, not pointed at me, but very visibly in front of them. And it was clear they meant business.
He backtracked and headed south on the ET Highway to Groom Lake Road, the main entrance to the base. It, too, was blocked off by sheriff's deputies and military security. A military helicopter with an attached basket was sitting there, presumably ready to haul out wreckage of something. A pair of porta potties suggested the team planned to be there for a while.
The whole thing's weird, dude.
Was shut down.
At the Little Ailey Inn in Rachel, employees were in the dark about a crash, but saw the beefed-up security at closed-off roads and knew something big was unfolding. Crashes are not an everyday occurrence out here, but locals have seen plenty of them over the decades.
If this thing would have crashed anywhere in restricted airspace, in restricted area, we would have never known about it.
After being turned away from the presumed crash site, Arnu and the aerospace sleuths on his website, dreamlandresort.com, began gathering and sharing bits and pieces of information. The FAA had ordered the closure of airspace over a particular spot in the valley. That was a big clue. Then 4 days after the crash, the security teams vanished. Arnu went back out for a look. The Air Force had used heavy equipment to plow a dirt road across a section of desert. Arnu followed it and found what he thought was the crash site, then shared it online. That's when things got strange, even by Area 51 standards. A second wave of cleanup crews descended on the site, presumably to pick up any remaining debris, but they also used graders to cover the entire area with a thick layer of dirt, literally a cover-up. Creech Air Force Base, which is home to a fleet of Reaper drones and other UAVs, issued a statement explaining that the, quote, unmanned aircraft was one of theirs. The same statement claimed someone had been tampering with the crash site and had scattered assorted pieces from other aircraft, along with an inert training bomb. The Air Force said the FBI was investigating this alleged tampering at the site. Arnu was amused but not convinced.
The only thing they could get that person for is littering on public land.
That's the story, is it came from Creech and now the FBI is investigating. You think that's bogus?
That's absolutely bogus. I think that was designed to make people not go there.
Arnu drove back out and realized the site he first videotaped was a staging area, not the crash site. 200 yards away, the telltale burn marks on Joshua trees indicated this was where the object slammed into the earth. Both he and another aerospace explorer found pieces of who knows what, debris that came from something other than a drone, seemingly planted to confuse anyone who came looking. But they also found pieces under the dirt that are likely the real thing.
I'm pretty sure that this piece came off the actual aircraft.
Arnu, who was at the site of a genuine Reaper crash years earlier, says there's no way the Air Force could ever recover every piece of a crashed aircraft, so they added some dirt and sprinkled in some misdirection instead.
If I were them, I would probably do just that.
Is there a good guess about what crashed? On the Dreamland Resort website, members, including former military and retired defense contractors, chimed in. The leading theory is that the drone was one of the latest generation of AI-controlled craft that accompany advanced fighter planes and can act independently.
Oh God, I covered that on one of my episodes. Yeah, that's the new, I think it's Lockheed. So it's their new drone they just dropped where like a pilot will have 4 or 5 or however many of these things at his disposal while he's flying. And they can engage enemies. They can do it all pretty much. Pretty badass. I just saw this really interesting post. You ready for this? You're going to like this. This is related to energy.
All right.
A tech billionaire by the name of Matthew Pines has really been pushing for disclosure. I think
Wait a
reason.
second. The Matthew Pines?
I think the reason.
He's a billionaire?
I don't know. It just says a tech billionaire by the name of Matthew Pines. I don't know.
Okay.
I think the reason for this big push all of a sudden is because they know they need that 0-point energy that they've discovered on those craft in order to power AI. Because we don't have the power grid to power it, and they can't patent it unless they disclose it.
Yeah, what did I say before? You remember that? Roll the tape back. Do you remember? Because I was talking about the what disclosure was about was this a laundering scheme.
Yeah.
So that you could patent and like control. You know what I'm saying? Is Matthew? Are we talking about the same guy that was on the Jesse Michaels?
I don't know.
Podcast. Is Matthew Pines?
This was Lori Hildebrandt that posted this.
And on Jesse Michaels. Okay, because I know physics. He doesn't know. No, me and him and Roy Herbert got into a conversation in a space one time with Matthew Pines, the guy that was on the Jesse Michaels podcast. And if this is the same guy, that would be even more of a, because basically like,
he is tech billionaire.
I don't know. We're gonna find out. We're gonna find out here.
Yeah.
No, I didn't ask. Oh, I got it. It doesn't understand my question. I didn't give it to it right.
Well, while you look at that, I'm going to update folks on a couple of things about the Russia deal. So, because I did want to get this in, I kept saying Setka. Setka was the official Russian program. It was Setka AN and Setka MO. It was divided into two entities, same agency. And it happened after the phenomena. So we covered that Petrozavodsk phenomena with the orb, the giant thing over the city. Remember we covered that? So that was really what set off the Soviet Union into really researching UFOs. Setka AN was the Academy of Sciences, the civilian and scientific sector, and Setka MO, Ministry of Defense, obviously the military sector. They collected, it says 3,000 plus reports of, quote, anomalous phenomena over their 13 years. Most were ultimately classified as natural or human-made. There wasn't any actual proof of extraterrestrial life. The military side focused on protecting strategic sites from unknown aerial intrusions, training personnel on how to respond to UFOs, like not firing a rocket at them.
Hey, are you are you hearing a little bit of a noise, by the way? Or maybe that's me.
Do we have a background noise?
It might be me. It just might be me. My apologies. Continue.
Don't we have any background noise, folks? Okay, so those were really just the main things. They had two kind of main sections. There was Setka AN, Setka MO. AN was the civilian science side. MO was the defense side. And the incident that we played, the Petrozavodsk phenomenon, I can't say it, was essentially that was kind of their big moment, their Roswell, like why they started.
Hey, we do have a note. We do have a note that the audio is bad. Jalapeno in the chat has pointed it out.
No.
So
Okay.
I think that it's not just me.
Is it when I'm
all.
talking?
Yes, it is.
Okay. Hold, please.
It's Gabriel's mic. So, well, welcome everybody. We're just gonna take a pause. Hello, my baby. Hello, my honey. Hello, my right time gal. Yeah. I hope everybody's doing well. Okay, I'm just kidding. But isn't that funny? Yeah. We'll be right back after these technical. That's funny, right? I'm taking liberties with playing audio. Apologize. Okay, there we go. Yeah.
Awesome. Okay, how is it now?
Isn't it? Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Better?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. That's so weird. That happened to me before. I think I might have to get a new line.
You like that? You like
that music was awesome. I loved it.
All right, cool.
Okay.
We try and have a little bit of fun here as the world's on fire. How about's yours?
Right. If you don't laugh, you cry. Pretty much. Okay. So yeah, that was last thing, the Roswell thing, and also last thing I guess is we need to get more on this guy, Mr. Gaffney, target number 1 on the Gabriel Speak Show.
Target.
Oh yeah.
Okay. Oh yeah. Let's target acquired. All right.
Target acquired. Anything you can get on Gaffney, folks, send it my way, please. Please. He's done like.
What did this guy do? What's this guy in for? What are we after this guy for?
So, do you remember the UAP hearings?
No.
With George Knapp. I replayed like a litber bit of it earlier. Remember he was talking about Russia? Yeah, the UAP hearings.
Yeah, I mean, basically, yeah, not inside and out, but yeah, I'm familiar. Like,
so there's this moment in the hearing where one of the senators asks, they ask George Knapp in regards to the legacy program, is there like anyone you can say, or
oh, that's right, and then there's a whisper moment, and it's Glenn Gaffney. I just want to spare you the time. But yeah, and I'm catching up now. Yeah, I'll dig into this at the same time. What do you got? What do you got on that?
So anything? Oh, I'm just asking for help. Anything anybody may have on Mr. Gaffney.
Got it.
Send
so what was
it my way.
Any other specific nouns associated with them? DIA, Raytheon. Any other? What was he? Any other connections?
Yeah, he was CIA, and he was Deputy Director of National Intelligence. For collection. Associate Director of CIA for talent.
All right. What are you using, by the way? What's your poison for searching? If you have like a,
like engine or AI or
what have you.
Well, I use for my search engine. I use usually DuckDuckGo, unless I'm trying to get like all the mainstream stuff, and then I'll just use Google. And then for my AI, I use ChatGPT. I don't really fuck with Grok. I don't know why. I just don't.
Also, you're correct in that intuition. I don't either. However, I'm doing something different. I ask because I'm like, where are you coming from? Right. So I can find out like what to work with here. I love Perplexity.
Perplexity?
No.
I haven't heard of that one yet.
I know.
Okay.
It's fantastic. You have little spaces and threads and stuff like that. It just gives you the facts. It doesn't be like, well, excellent, great. Oh, you're really onto something like the.
Oh yeah, my GPT doesn't do all that bullshit either.
Yeah. Also, it also cites maybe I'm just caught up in my own little world, and this is what I've seen, and other things are just like this. But it gives you your sources really well, and I found it to be very helpful. In doing research, specifically in physics, because you can just kind of like vibe research, and whenever it says something interesting, you can follow the paper that came from and like ask questions, and it's very effective in a way that I found Grok to be repulsive, and ChatGPT to be kind of lame, really. So I just pulled up, that being said, Glenn Gaffney on this, and I thought that we could maybe dive into this guy who was described as the American Q, like James Bond's tech supplier. I feel like I've heard that before.
Maybe
oversaw
that, but a lot less
all
cool.
intelligence community collection programs.
Right.
Yeah.
Yep. Way up there, and won't say anything about UFO, UAP. I mean, you literally cannot find. I mean, I haven't been able to find a single interview with him talking about.
Well, because here's the thing: you made a tightrope if you follow the thesis that like you've got a version of alien lie as cover. Because I'm not saying that aliens are not real or that the ultra terrestrials aren't or whatever, but I'm saying there's a lie alien that is propping up a certain kind of scheme. And they're trying to play with it now. They're trying to alter it now publicly.
There's something they're covering. I mean, whether it's aliens or,
Yeah, well, the thing that they are covering for sure is technology.
Yeah.
Like, that's the only reason anything is secret. It's not because they care about your belief system.
Well, it could be, like we've heard the rumors about they maybe have had AI for a long time.
Who? Some alien they?
The government.
Oh yeah, well back in the 60s, Jacques Vallée was like had his hands in AI. Turns out I found in my research, and like in the 1960s they had stuff. They had the concept for like computer algorithms and stuff in the 1860 something.
It's pretty wild.
It's wild, like how close to on it everything was in the late 1800s. It's really, I mean, if it wasn't for maybe capital consolidation, things might be in a completely because things really could have taken off in a completely different, like enriching anyway.
Well, some people got rich.
Robbery. Exactly.
What do you mean? There's a couple people got insanely rich.
Ooh, this is interesting. Reddit is the source here. I'd have to dig into this to see if it would be worth citing, but I'm looking here at the Glenn Gaffney.
Dude, anything you can find. I mean, there's a reason I'm asking for help because it's really hard.
Apparently, he had a role in blocking UAP material transfers.
Well, I'm not surprised at all at that.
That is interesting because because what you realize in all this is that there's factions and there's some kind of split, and it may even be that like the good portion has grown, but you still have a malevolent third,
right?
You know what I mean, like a nasty ass third that is just willing to,
We know the narrative that they're selling us is there's, the Christian fundamentalists that call them demons. And then there's this other side that wants the information out for the technology. But that's like, if that is what is leaking out, it's probably nonsense, right? Like, I mean, do you really think there are people at the Pentagon that think these UAP are demons?
Well,
believe that?
I don't know about some of these belief systems, and I mean, here's the thing. That's tough because I think that there are things that people think in these secret groups, but maybe it's a metaphor to them or something. But or maybe it's a real belief. I don't really know. I'm not actually confident in engaging that question. So respectfully, I'll just step aside and let you
what
have the stage there.
You have no opinion on the matter? Hold on, let me find something.
I couldn't articulate like a good. I'm refusing to submit my opinion yet. I would want to file it later.
Submit my opinion. I love it.
Yeah, I want to file it later.
Right.
You know, after some more further, because I'm inclined to. I'm also just disinclined to. I don't want to get into a tussle right now about it because I think it's arguable that people no seriously do believe this demon shit, and it's like a convenient lie that other people smarter than them are letting them think. You know what I mean? Like it could get complicated. You know, like I think that like George Herbert Walker Bush, right? The Bush Papa. Apparently Poppy Bush because of connection to poppy fields and heroin, not because he was a father. I think that's interesting. I know. Isn't that interesting?
Are you serious?
Yes. Yeah. The Poppy Bush isn't because he's a father. It's because of the poppy fields that he was controlling with his role in the CIA.
That is,
I mean, you know,
amazing. I had no idea, but it doesn't surprise me that much. Okay.
Yeah, so, but my point is that he was being opped by this majestic order too, into thinking that these craft were spooky aliens.
Okay.
When that's not the case. But so like already there's like ops and ops.
That
You know, so it's like the Scientology, like we're not gonna like tell you this or that or something, right? Like I'm just trying to point to like publicly understood nested structures of compartmentalized knowledge and information, you know, because it's not intuitive. It's you know, like anyway.
It makes everything harder to understand, and it just adds yet another layer of confusion. And that's why I wonder if that's all they're trying to do. But so this is a short I made quite a while ago. Forgive the dramatic elements. It is a short, but the content. Pay attention to the content because this was a real. This is a real thing. This is what these guys are saying.
So one thing that Lou Elizondo told me, one of the biggest things.
Now, important to point out, Ron James came into a space that I was in a while ago, and he shared. Have you heard of the Elizondo dead baby photo? That's who this came from. This is before that. But basically, Lou Elizondo sent him that picture of a Harlequin baby and told him it was an alien. And that's why, like, I wouldn't put it past Lou to lie about this to Ron James.
So one thing that Lou Elizondo told me, one of the biggest things, surprisingly, that he ran into with opposition within the Pentagon, within the Defense Department to the work that he was doing, is that there was a very large contingent of people that believed that this was a demonic force, as in demons.
This is a person I respected tremendously, very, very senior person. He's told me, he said, Lou, I want you to stop doing this. We already know what it is. He asked me point blank, have you read your Bible lately? Then you would know that these things are demonic and we should not be pursuing them.
We shouldn't be investigating it. We shouldn't be poking the tiger in the eye. This was a huge group of people.
Wait, they thought the phenomenon that was being witnessed was demons?
Within the military establishment, within the Pentagon, within DOD, there was a large number of people that opposed his work because they thought they were dealing with demonic activity. So one thing that Lou...
Yeah, buddy.
Yeah. No, I mean, here's the thing. Like, the thing is, like, that I think that is a convenient cover lie that they're happy that you think that that's what's going on because that's easy to manipulate.
That's why I asked the question.
Yeah. I mean, that's my view, you know, and because then you get into this enemy, and then you get into this weaponization, and it's a fear-based mode, and
you get into fear, you get into people's belief system, and it's a belief system that's been around for thousands of years, by the way.
And then, like cue the thing about like, don't we need a alien to bring us unity, and then like cue up Watchmen,
Reagan
like
speech.
that's what they did, and it's just this notion of othering, right?
Yeah.
And so like if you can use that and see it for what it is, then it's like, okay, well, baloney, alien threat narrative, baloney or whatever.
Yeah. Let's see. Yeah. Mocks people who believe in demons, yet pushes believe me bro aliens. Yeah, I don't know. I don't think it's about mocking people who believe in demons for me. It's about using it as a narrative. You know what I mean? I don't laugh in believing in that. I'm a Christian myself. But what I laugh at and what kind of bothers me is that they're using it to mislead people. You know what I mean? Like you're creating this narrative where you have good guys versus bad guys. And then it's just easier to play people. It's easier to get people to choose a side. It's easier to get people emotional. You get people emotional, and then boom, they're in a psyop before they even know it.
Yeah, and well, and I know it stinks to be commenting and then like people to be talking about it, because it's like you can only like communicate, and you're like, no, and then other people are like just like swarming, like their opinion on you, and you're like, I want to be able to argue against it, and so like without addressing it too much, like it gets but
because you don't want to make that's the
there
thing,
there we go, yes, exactly. It's about running the operation,
right.
See the comment there and stuff like that. It's not that like but also let's really get down to them. What are we talking about if we get into like that those other kinds of beliefs, and like how those synthesize. So
it's one more way to cause division. It's one more tool on the tool belt, if you will, that if they need to, they can use it. Elizondo was very this was all very plotted out on his side, and things didn't work out the way he wanted them to. But he had a plan which basically involved using the technology, saying it was reverse engineered, even though it's our technology, and selling it back to the government. That's what he wanted to do.
Wait, I think I missed this.
The
Elizondo,
the Elizondo 5-phase plan. You missed that one.
Yeah. I don't keep up with the modern.
Well, it's not that modern. This was his. So he had a plan. When he first came out of the Pentagon, right? And it wasn't to be a UFO spokesperson or be like on every single UFO podcast and interview. His plan was to get people to believe in aliens so that he could then, and you find this, he's actually on the board of 4 or 5 different UAP/UFO organizations. And the idea was to take cutting edge technology that we already have, and use it as reverse engineered technology. Basically tell the Pentagon this was reverse engineered from alien technology, and then sell it to the Pentagon as reverse engineered technology.
Okay. So Yes, I think that's falls in line with everything that is a part of the thesis for like how this is technology transfer and stuff like that, and selling it back.
One
And
second. I'm gonna get the deal here. Oh, my son's having a meltdown. If you hear a kid crying in the background, I swear we're not beating him. Okay, let's see here. Elizondo. How many drives do you have, by the way, for the amount of data that you research?
No, it's not. I mean, no, it's not. I mean, I do have an external 4 terabyte drive, but it's not like anything. It's not. It's not even remotely full.
Yeah. Okay, this is the Elizondo 5-phase plan. And I'm not going to read it word for word. I'm just going to give you the bullets. I can shoot this over to you if you want a copy of it. So phase 1 was media and public relations campaign, media hype creation. Initiate a public relations campaign focused on exposing alleged government cover-ups and the overclassification of information related to UFOs or UAPs. Publish articles, documentaries, and interviews that suggest the government has been withholding critical information about alien technology, possibly endangering national security by failing to disclose key findings, use high-profile media platforms to accuse the government of a lack of transparency, so on and so forth. So the government has been withholding UFO technology and information. This stuff is real 100%, and they're withholding it, and it could put us in danger because of that. Phase 2 was political pressure, right? So now that you've got them on their heels, political and institutional critique, lobbying Congress, leverage public interest to pressure lawmakers into taking action. Boy, almost sounds like Age of Disclosure. Initiating congressional hearings where insiders testify about the need for transparency and government accountability in UFO and UAP matters. Encourage the creation of a formal government agency or task force mandated to investigate historical records of UFO encounters. Phase 3. Building expert networks and strategic entities forming interconnected organizations behind the scenes. Phase 4. Manufacturing a sole source government contract opportunity, influencing government solicitations. Once the media and public have applied sufficient pressure, the government is compelled to issue a solicitation to research UFOs and UAPs. Having influenced the policy discourse, the group ensures that the solicitation includes specific language, terms, and task areas based on insider knowledge from classified briefings, clandestine programs, or testimony previously given. As the group was instrumental in shaping the conversation and defining the scope of the problem, they positioned themselves as the only entity capable of responding effectively to that solicitation. And then you get into phase 5 because you put yourself in that position, right? By controlling the narrative and shaping the solicitation to match their manufactured expertise, the group becomes the only viable candidate for the contract. As a result, they receive the sole source award, securing hundreds of millions of dollars in government funding to research UFOs and UAPs. Profiting from the manufactured expertise, developing and selling technology with the government funding secured, the group embarks on developing technology and resource that, while standard in the field of aerospace or defense, is repackaged under the guise of UFO, UAP expertise. These technologies are then sold back to the government, creating a highly profitable cycle of research and product development. And so on and so forth. Oh, you're muted, buddy.
That's really good. I would appreciate being able to link to that because
I'll shoot you a copy.
I'm without being able to like parse some of that language, it feels like it fits right in with this understanding of what disclosure is really about, the technology transfer, all this, right? Like you kind of grok that, yeah.
And this, this is a couple years old. This isn't new. Right, like this was legitimately his plan, and I don't know how it leaked. but it did.
Well, this goes back to Kelly Chase's comments about like what disclosure was, and it goes back to Daniel Sheehan's comments on on one of the Jesse Michaels where he talks about Lockheed's plan. I have the clip somewhere. Do you remember that? And he's like,
"Yes,
yeah."
Yeah.
It's nice whenever people like have also seen the things and you don't have to like, you know what I mean, like explain it.
Well,
all
it's
and
good to
you're
replay.
like, okay,
It's
cool,
good to
cool.
replay them for the audience, and talk about them for the audience because that's why they're here, right? Like they probably don't necessarily know all this stuff, and I don't necessarily know all this stuff, but we can look it up and figure it out for sure.
I tell you what, I've finally got a good enough computer where I can search my hard drive and it comes up with things pretty quickly.
Yeah.
But as far as the videos and stuff like that go, because I don't always do the best job with putting it labeled and putting it in the right folders and stuff like that. But I think that I have titled "What Lockheed Wants." Yep. Lockheed Wants is the name of this video. Let's see if you can hear this come through.
Yeah. Can you share it in here?
I hope I can just put the audio through maybe and not get you any copyright strikes.
He works through Mike Johnson to kind of take that out of Schumer.
Right. That's right.
And so I find that interesting. Where do you think a company like Lockheed Martin actually see, like, how do you think they see the UFO thing? Because
they see it as a profit-making potential profit. There's no doubt about how they see it.
Well, Ben Rich, who's the president of Skunkworks, their most secretive division, used to call UFOs unfunded opportunities.
Yeah.
And then in 2016, 2017, they're working with Tom DeLonge, who's the Blink-182 frontman, and you have Rob Weiss, who is, Ben Rich's successor at Skunkworks, and emails between him and Tom DeLonge that were revealed through WikiLeaks, where it's clear that Lockheed wants to like talk more about the UFO, phenomena, but then they work through a guy like Mike Turner later, last year to kill this bill. So that feels a little schizophrenic. They sort of want to do it on their own terms, or how do they?
They want to get Congress to know enough about it, which they don't yet. To agree to set up a law that authorizes them to get patent rights.
I can hear. I'll be right back.
They want to get patent rights to the technology so that the United States government, for the next 1,000 years, when it wants to have access to any of the technology of the UFOs for superluminal flight or anti-gravity stuff, is going to have to license it from the private company and pay them a ton of money for it. I mean, it's just absolutely, it's just avarice and greed,
Got it. So that makes sense. So they want like a broader public knowledge or surface area on the topic, but they don't want any of their IP taken out of the company.
That's right.
Yeah, I mean that makes sense.
They want to make as much money as possible on it. And here we have an event taking place of the world getting ready to be made aware of the fact.
Rich, who's the president of Skunkworks, their most secretive division, used to call UFOs unfunded opportunities.
Yeah.
And then in 2016, 2017, they're working with Tom DeLonge, who's the Blink-182 frontman, and you have Rob Weiss, who is, Ben Rich's successor at Skunkworks, and emails between him and Tom DeLonge that were revealed through WikiLeaks, where it's clear that Lockheed wants to like talk more about the UFO, phenomena. But then they work through a guy like Mike Turner later, last year to kill this bill. So that feels a little schizophrenic. They sort of wanted. How do they?
They just. And pay them a ton of money for it. I mean, it's just absolutely, it's just avarice and greed,
Got it. So that makes sense. So they want like a broader public knowledge or surface area on the topic, but they don't want any of their IP taken out of the company.
That's right.
Yeah, I mean that makes sense.
They want to make as much money as possible on it. And here.
Pretty. Pretty good. Pretty good. Now, given the opportunity here, yeah, I'll just take a moment to play one more thing as a gentle reminder about what we're dealing with.
Because they consider the people in the State Department fucking commies. You know, I mean, that's what they do. They think that they're not really solely in defense of our national interests.
Right.
You know, that they're trying to make treaties with people and negotiate. They hate the United Nations. You know, they hate treaties with other countries, NATO. You know, that they're into, they're fucking fascists. Is what they are.
All right, and we're back.
Yes, thank you, buddy. Took a little longer than I thought. We, like I said, vacation, heading out for the Hawaiian Islands, and
oh, nice.
Let's see, the plane leaves in literally 8 hours.
Tremendous.
Yes, which is why I'm up late doing this stream, so I can keep my energy levels up for the travel I'm about to embark on. But I think I'm going to have to close down the space because we are packing up the car and all that stuff now. So yeah, it's about time I get moving. Dude, thanks for hanging out. We're going to do your energy thing when I get back. Is that cool?
Yeah, well,
can we do it?
We'll try and get it better and closer to being straight.
When do you because I have two of your I don't know what to call them. Thesis? A thesis? A research paper?
Yes,
what would you call it?
I like to say these are thesis and history timeline research presentations.
Okay.
You know,
are you what do you think your goal is with it? What do you ultimately, if you had $1 billion and could do what you wanted to do in this area, what would you do?
Oh, that's a different question. I guess, okay, in that case, then the main mission is, and you would rightfully ask, how does this fit in? I'm not quite sure. Let me just briefly answer that. What I'm working on is a way of understanding. It's it's like my homework, like the putting together everything that we've figured out, because we're behind and we need to catch up. And this is as far as I've gotten. This is my map of the new territory for anybody who wants to find out what the heck magnetohydrodynamics is or whatever, right? Like, here are the names, here's the timeline, here's the alternate perspective. If you just squint and look at things with a curl, you can see a lineage that explains like a lot, right?
Yeah.
So that's why this work, kind of emerged. It just kind of became like a way of, instead of just having conversation like, oh, well, it's kind of like smoke rings, and like, oh, but it became like essential for me to be clear-minded, to have it all laid out. What are we talking about when you're talking about this? So
it's not, it might be this, it might be that. Right, like it is this. It is
it is this. This is the guy, and this is the date, and this is the paper, and this is the concept, and this is the structure, and this is the math, and this is the phrases. You know what I mean? And this is what it is. And so that I don't have to. And so this is for me too. Like, this wasn't supposed to be like, I'm gonna, from a position of knowledge, tell you how it is and teach it. It's always been like figuring it out on the fly. And
that's how I feel with the UFO stuff. Yeah, I feel the same way. Like I'm learning with y'all. You know what I mean? Like, kind of on this journey with you. Definitely not speaking from a position of authority. Just like everybody else trying to figure it out.
Now, that being said, from this unique position of place with technology and shoulders of giants and other people's research, this story is phenomenal. And it's not like mine, right? So like, no pride, but like, there's a story that I see, and that's in in vaguely within the things that I've shared. Like there's more. And like, if you put together all the conversations that have been had around this stuff, like, I'm not sure about, I'm trying to encapsulate it all right now. I'm trying to crystallize it, you know?
Yeah.
But, I mean, the story is just phenomenal. I never thought I'd be so lucky as like to hear so cool of a new version, because any new version requires that, like, well, it has to encapsulate everything behind it. It can't just be like weird and wacky new, you know, it has to like make sense. You know, it has to be, you would expect it to be like a natural seeming phenomenon. You would expect it to be kind of intuitive. You'd expect it to be like elegant and simple and da 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 da. And this thing like checks all those boxes. You know what I mean? Yeah. So anyway, I forgot about answering your question, but all this stuff came up as just like a way of trying to understand this. And what would you do if you had all this work? So the work is to make the technology available massively, widely, for free, to change the energy paradigm to one of abundance on this planet.
Okay.
That's the goal.
Yeah.
That's the goal.
So it's not a very big one.
Exactly. And it makes it well, the thing is that it's such a like an underdog position to be in that like I kind of feel like a little bit like loosey goosey or like Joker about it, because it's so unlikely. Like you're such like Rebel doesn't even like, it's so tiny of a chance. Like and this is but the same
sometimes
thing
that's the best position to be in.
But like also everybody that's like not wanted forests to be cut down or not wanted waters to be poisoned, those are people standing up to the same thing, you know? And I think this is a unique position where we have a way to like unleash like light magic to help heal everything. And that's something that would be just
amazing.
Amazing.
It would be a pivot point in our recorded history.
It's incredible. Like, I mean, it's hard to express it verbally or even like emotionally, like right now, you know, like how, I mean, without screaming and just being like in awe and weeping, could you describe the transformative power of this kind of a thing, you know? So
that's awesome, man. Well, you know, I've already told you whatever I can do to help. My limited skills are at your disposal, buddy.
Yeah, I would highly recommend like one of these guys that like is just a real standout and doing things on the ground is Jordan Collins, or the
hold on.
Jordan on YouTube. His account is the Alchemical Science.
Alchemical, okay. All right.
He's
Jordan
grown
Collins.
LINS. Yeah.
Okay. Very cool.
Jordan Collins. And I just highly promote this guy. He's doing it out in the real world and like putting himself out there. We watched a bit of one of his things on the thunderstorm generator he put together. You'll notice he was the guy with the background and talking about the compilation of all the videos. So he's really cool. He's like,
the one.
There's not a lot of people doing stuff.
Hey, everybody, you see this right here? Nathaniel Hanks YouTube page. I want you to go there. I want you to subscribe. 82 subscribers is unacceptable. It's unacceptable. I'm serious. Get over there and subscribe. Okay. I have a gentleman that regularly watches my show. By Ron, it goes by the name of Ron. I can't even pronounce it, but he comments this every single one of my episodes, and I want to get your take. Only the dielectric vortex technology by Ronald Frederick Sykes has the fastest rate of induction, delivering superior levitation for your personal spacecraft. Now he posts that. I'm not going to say everyone, but almost every one of my videos. And so I know he's passionate about this.
Well, it's also easy to hit
Control V.
What are your thoughts on that? It's easy. Well, first of all, it's easy to hit Control V.
Okay. All right.
Control
Fair
V
point.
can do quite a lot of work.
Fair
second
point.
of all, Here's the thing. Then just get on. Then, sir, get on board. Dielectric vortex technology. Those are some of the bingo words. Okay. And without getting into it, and without you having like the patent, like here's the thing: if you got patents, it's not going to work. Like, or good luck making. You'll just get absorbed into the blob. Right. If you have something, share it, buddy. That would be my advice this fall. If you have something, share it widely.
Well, he says, what does he say? He says, super green, eco-friendly tech. It's super fast. It says, with an overweighted ratio of 33-1. Let's see. Vortex technology, Ronald Frederick Sykes. It says, just look it up. Best exploration vid.
All right.
Open source. Okay. Yeah, so I said I told him, I promise I'm going to do an episode on it because he's very passionate about this. So yes, we will definitely check it out for you, buddy. And Nathaniel is the guy you want looking into this, I promise, not Gabriel.
Yeah, and probably he's right about something that I just haven't heard about. Mr. Ron Sykes, have you heard about the thunderstorm generator? Have you heard about the ENG8 energy fusion cell? Have you heard about the Griffin Brock shadow graph or the Dr. Levengood plasmoid seed patents?
See, that's why you need to ask Nathaniel. That's why we're asking Nathaniel.
Any one of those, if you've heard, like that, just kind of like I'm just trying to like, where are we coming from here? Yep. Okay, yep to all. If there's one of those that you haven't heard of, that would be interesting. If you heard of them all, we're in a different kind of world, right? Because that's a rare. And don't mess around, like, right?
What do you mean by that?
Like a sincere guy. That means that it's like whenever you're talking to somebody who's like knows football, right? You're in a different world. I don't know football, so I'm not going to be able to talk to you at that level. But if someone is Martin bro knows. Okay, bro knows. Martin Fleischman, bro knows. All right. Okay, I mean,
So listen, we're gonna look into this for you, Ron. I promise. You got my word. We will.
Kola Nipchin. Sorry, I'm just gonna take this down. This guy might have something.
He's always dropping little hints like this. I swear. Now I'm going on vacation for a week. Oh, I can't wait. But I'll be back, and we're gonna check out this dialectic.
EVOs.
Dialectic vortex. Yes.
All right. Ron Sykes, follow me at NA_. Oh shoot! Can I? It's on my.
Yes.
It's on the thing there.
Hold on, let me grab it.
At NA_ Ron Sykes. Follow me here. I know Ken Shoulders, etc. Let's talk or communicate. If you have some more details, that would be helpful. John Hutchison, of course, good sir, of course. Kapitsa. Let's play. Let's lay our cards out on the table. This is fun. It's fun whenever you meet another EVO nerd.
Awesome.
Matsumoto.
Okay, so I got your stuff up.
Thank you very much. Check that out on Twitter.
X. Yep.
All right.
Twitter.
Ron
whatever.
Sykes.
It'd
be fun if we already follow each other. We probably already follow each other.
I don't even realize it. That happens to me too. I'm like, oh shit. All right, y'all. Well, I'm gonna wrap it up. But yes, going on vacation. I might post here and there, but probably won't be doing any videos, I don't imagine. And Nathaniel, I will see you in a week.
Yeah, thanks. This was fun. I appreciate it. Enjoy your time. And,
thanks for hanging out, man. Because I was just gonna do it by myself. It's so much better when someone's here to hang out.
Yeah, exactly.
Bounce ideas off of,
Yeah, it's more humane.
Right. Right. Who wants to just watch me for an hour? All right. Hey, everyone, subscribe to Nathaniel Hanks YouTube, and also go to his X, follow him there. Cheers, everyone. Have a great weekend, and I will see y'all in about a week.
Hey, man, take it easy. Have fun.
All
Thanks,
right.
Chad.